Welcome to Turner Field in Atlanta. It's Game 4 of this National League Championship Series. Curt Schilling and the Diamondbacks took it 2 games to 1 here last night, and the Braves trying to knock things up tonight. A pleasant good evening to you. Alongside Steve Lyons, I'm Tom Brenneman. Welcome to playoff baseball here on Fox. If the Braves are going to even the series, they're leaning hard on their star, Greg Maddux.
You know, a lot of guys wouldn't come back with their pitchers on 3 days rest. They don't have great postseason history. Just 1 in 9 with the pitchers in postseason that come back on 3 days rest. But we're talking about one of the best pitchers in the game, Greg Maddux, and you have to bring him back because they do not want to go down 3 games to 1 against Randy Johnson in tomorrow's game.
Maddux 1-4 in his career against Arizona. Albie Lopez, who starts for the Diamondbacks, 2-0 against the Braves this year. Game 4 coming up next. A beautiful night for baseball. We welcome you to Turner Field in Atlanta, where 17-game winner Greg Maddux is trying to get the Braves back to 2 games apiece. Bob Brenly and the Arizona Diamondbacks. Let's take a look at their starting lineup. Leading off playing shortstop, Tony Womack. Greg Counsell, a big night here last night, is at second base. Luis Gonzalez, only 1 hit in the series, is in left. Reggie Sanders, a former Brave, in right. Steve Finley knocked in 3 runs in the game. He's in center. Matt Williams at third. A latter third of Mark Grace. Damian Miller and right-hander Albie Lopez. And on the mound, making his 14th League Championship Series start. That's a record. Right-hander Greg Maddux.
And that record in the postseason, a little deceiving there. The 0-1. Of course, he matched up with Randy Johnson in Game 1 of this series and got shut down. Look at the scouting report of Greg Maddux. A great variation of his fastball. He throws 3 different fastballs. He has the best comeback pitch in baseball. He'll run that fastball in off the plate to the lefties. It runs back out over the plate. And watch out for the 3-2 changeup. Probably the best pitcher in baseball that throws changeups in fastball counts.
Let's take a look at the Braves defensively. And Maddux with 11 gold gloves is a big part of it. B.J. Surhoff in left. Andrew Jones in center with Brian Jordan. He made some sensational plays in the outfield here last night. He's in right. Chipper Jones, Ray Sanchez, Marcus Giles, and Julio Franco third to first. The battery of Maddux and Paul Bacco. Maddux generally likes throwing to the backup catcher through the years in Atlanta, going all the way back to guys like Charlie O'Brien, in recent years Eddie Perez, and now Bacco. Bacco has swung the bat very well when given the chance to play here in the postseason. You couldn't ask for a more picture-perfect night in Atlanta. 68 degrees. So Womack to lead it off, and he takes outside. Ball 1, and we are underway.
Of course, Greg Maddux was really the initiator of the personal catcher with Charlie O'Brien, and I know that even went further back in the game. Tim McCarver even caught specific guys, but recently the catcher to the Stars has become more and more popular in the game, and Paul Bacco is Maddux's catcher.
Womack pops it up left side. Playable for Ray Sanchez, and Womack retired. He's 1 of 10 in the series. Time for a game break. Let's check in with Jeannie Zalasko. Hi, Jeannie.
Hi, Tom. You guys just finished batting practice. It's just getting underway in the Bronx. Top 9, Jay Buhner adding insult to injury. His first hit of the postseason, a home run. John Olerud singled in another one, making it 14-3 Seattle. In the history of the franchise, New York has never allowed 14 runs in the postseason. Tom?
Jeannie, thank you very much. Lou Piniella told us he's just hoping to bring that series back to Safeco Field in Seattle. And they're certainly going to get their first win in that best-of-7 tonight in the Bronx. Greg Counsell takes high and away, ball 1. Counsell 5 hits and 12 at-bats during the League Championship Series. 8 of 28 overall in the postseason. Saw a moment ago our telecast also available in Spanish by utilizing the SAP button on your television. 1-0 to Counsell. 2-0. Mike Riley calling the balls and strikes. It's always a big issue for Maddux. It will be for Lopez. Will Maddux get the borderline call?
Coach Mike Riley, a former American League umpire, has not seen Maddux pitch as many times as some of the National League umpires. Of course, now there is no distinction between umpires, but clearly he has not seen Maddux pitch as much as the guys that had been former National League umpires.
2-2. Greg Maddux this year became only the second pitcher in Major League history to win 15 or more games in at least 14 consecutive seasons. Only Cy Young will accomplish it in 15 straight years, better than Maddux. Swing and a miss. And Counsell is going to reach first base. We saw a play just like that in the Yankees-Oakland series. It started a huge inning for the Yanks during the division series.
And of course, Counsell, it took him a minute to realize that Baco didn't catch the ball. It's a ball down in the dirt, and it just kind of hits the thumb of Baco's glove, and then Counsell hustling all the way down there, and of course running on the outside of the baseline, because that's where Franco was. Once again, a lot of those situations when you're running like that, if you get picked off the second base or if you're trying to run out a strikeout, you're hoping the ball hits you. You're trying to get hit with the ball. That's one of the ways you can be safe.
Now Luis Gonzalez, just 1 hit and 12 at bats during this league championship series, and he looks at a strike. One of the biggest wins in Diamondbacks franchise history, going back to 1999. They came here to Turner Field, had 2 outs with nobody on, trailing by 2 runs in the 9th inning. And then catcher Kelly Stinnett swung and missed. The throw by Eddie Perez went down the right field line. Arizona scored 3 runs in the inning to win the game. Gonzalez, of course, had the monster regular season, clubbing 57 home runs, 142 runs batted in, but very quiet during the playoffs so far. Those are the numbers in the division series and the LCS.
Yesterday, after his 3rd at-bat, he actually bumped into manager Bob Brenly when they were both headed to the restroom in between innings. And Gonzo said, "Hey, hang with me. I'm all right. I'll be okay."
Gonzalez hit with a pitch with Counsell on the run, and Gonzalez will take first base.
Gonzalez all over the plate. This is right off his wrist. He got hit 14 times during the regular season, but we know, and we've talked about how close he stands to the plate and how he tries to get in on that inside pitch. This ball just continues to run. The little cutter that Maddux likes to throw in on lefties, and it just runs too far up and in, and Gonzo can't get out of the way of it. I'll tell you, sometimes guys don't mind getting hit by pitches, but they don't like getting hit off the wrist.
Well, Gonzalez down at first, Counsell at second, and now it's Reggie Sanders, and he looks at a strike on the outside corner. So the Diamondbacks with 2 on and 1 out, and they don't have a hit in the inning. Gonzalez still flexing that hand. You know that hurts. 0-1 delivery to Sanders. Swing and a miss. Chase the high fastball, and Maddux in front, 0-2.
And just to finish the thought on Gonzalez, Bob Brenly has a real good way of still having a player's mentality with his players. Kind of looked at Gonzo and said, "Yeah, you better pick it up and pick it up in a hurry." And it was kind of a way of saying, "I'm going to hang with you, but I need you to go out there and produce for me like you did all season long." You can get away with some of those things the way you say them if you're smiling and chuckling as you say it.
0-2 to Sanders off the outside corner. Arizona has not hit much at all during the postseason, but here in the LCS, at least with runners in scoring position, they've been very good. 5 hits and 16 at bats, and Sanders is 1 of 2.
Maddux has been amazing in his career, basically being a 2-pitch pitcher. He throws the variation of the fastball, and he throws a great changeup, but he will throw sliders to right-handed hitters.
Maddux only allowed 6 hits, only allowed 2 runs in the game 1 start. But as Steve mentioned earlier, Randy Johnson with a complete game shutout to beat Maddux 2-0 in a series opener in Phoenix. Johnson will get the ball here tomorrow night. Counsell and Gonzalez aboard, and now to 2-2. Hit down the left field line towards the corner. That is a foul ball, and a good thing for Maddux and the Braves it was. Gonzalez already halfway between second and third when that ball hit the ground. Foul.
Now, one of the things about this Diamondback team is there's really only a few guys with base stealing type speed. Finley can still run for him. Counsell, not a great base stealer. Of course, Tony Womack is the guy that absolutely can run. But a lot of guys on this team throughout the lineup have great first to third speed, great home to third speed, and any ball in a gap or down the line, Gonzalez will score from third. They do have that type of speed on this club.
On the ground, could be 2. Jones to second, and no throw to first. Going in hard is Gonzalez. Sanders runs very well, so it would have been tough to double him up. 2 down in the inning. Counsell advances on to third.
Well, when I was on first base when I played, Tom, I used to hope for 2 things, either a base hit or a grounder to third so I could take someone out. Jones bobbles this ball a little bit, has a little trouble getting that out of his glove, and then Giles, trying to use the bag as protection, doesn't do a great job of it, and he knows that Gonzo's going to be in on him. And he does the smart play right there by just sticking that ball in his back pocket. Gonzo going hard into the bag, all the way deep into the play there to try to trip up Giles.
Well, Gonzalez still flexing that right hand where he was hit by the pitch a moment ago. Here's Finley. Ball 1 inside, and then Gonzalez, his shin went banging into the body somewhere there of Giles.
Well, Giles is not a very big guy out there, just 5'8", and that's probably a generous estimation of his height. A couple of guys were joking about it. They just put a hat on second base, and they said, hey, look, here's Giles.
1-1.
That's just not nice.
Well, he swung the bat like a big man, though, in this series. He can hit. Maddux trying to get out of the opening inning. Runners on the corners, and now Finley wants time out. Finley 3 of 9 in the series. Knocked in 3 runs here last night. A 2-run double to start the scoring in the third, and an RBI single in the 5th. He has been the hottest hitter in the Diamondback lineup during the postseason. 11 of 28 with 5 RBIs during the playoffs.
Brentley told us before today's ball game that more than likely, if he puts his runners in motion, it will be a hit and run type play rather than a straight steal.
Right to Finley. Seattle finishing off the Yankees 14-3. Game 4 tomorrow. Two and two now to Finley. Matt Williams waits in the on-deck circle. Don't be surprised to see Sanders start now on the 2-2 pitch. There he goes. Strike. Whoa, Maddux was headed for the dugout. It looked like Mike Riley was ready to pull the trigger as Sanders steals second base. And Bobby Cox can't believe it.
Well, Mark Grace told me that what he likes to do is run the cutter in and then the comebacker right behind that pitch. This ball just a little too low for Mike Riley. It is that comeback type pitch that we talked about in the open where he runs it in on the lefties and then it tails back and just hits the inside corner. A lot of the lefties bail out on that pitch and it ends up being a strike. That one just a smidgen too low.
Three-two to Finley. Little bleeder to short right, and the running grab by Giles ends the inning. So Maddux escapes trouble. 2 men left. Atlanta coming up when we return. Welcome back to Turner Field. Atlanta coming to bat in the bottom half of the first inning. Bobby Cox in his starting lineup, brought to you by Kia. Marcus Giles leads off at second. Julio Franco at first. Chipper Jones at third. Brian Jordan in right. B.J. Surhoff in left. Andrew Jones in center. Latter third of Ray Sanchez, Paul Bacco, and Greg Maddux against a 30-year-old native of Mesa, Arizona, Albie Lopez, who came over from Tampa Bay at the trade deadline. Lopez did not pitch well in Game 4 of the division series against the Cardinals. His only postseason outing. Fouled out of play, but he has been terrific in 2 starts against Atlanta.
For some reason, he has had their number, and here's the scouting report on Lopez. He's got to settle in early. If he does not get off early here, you're going to see work in the bullpen. He's got to not fall in love with that fastball. He's got to be able to throw that curveball for strikes and throw it often.
And Bob Brenly told us before the game he thought the first batter of the game would be a huge batter in the game for Lopez.
He says he just doesn't want to put him in a situation where Giles rattles one off the wall and has to get Lopez in the stretch right away.
3-1. He's a pitch away from working out of the stretch. Coming up to Giles. 4-4. We welcome those of you who watched Seattle thump the Yankees in the Bronx in Game 3 of that series. 14-3 the final. Yankees leading 2-1. Arizona threatened in the opening inning, putting 2 aboard against Greg Maddux, but Maddux retired Steve Finley, leaving runners at second and third on a little pop-up to Giles. Giles, meanwhile, leads off the Atlanta first by drawing a walk against Arizona starter Albie Lopez. The Diamondbacks lead this best-of-7 league championship series 2-1.
And if the Braves are going to do anything as far as hitting and running, Franco's the perfect guy to do it. Says he loves to hit the ball the other way, and if you keep guys moving, it opens up the big hole on the right side.
Lopez lost 19 games during the season, spending the first half with Tampa Bay and the last 2.5 months in Arizona. Giles not going, and Franco lays down a bunt. Foul. Looked like he did that on his own.
Yeah, right there, clearly just bunting for a base hit. Checked out Matt Williams at third base. Notice that he was playing only at double play depth, but not in bunting depth. You see where Matty's playing right there. Matty's saying, go ahead, try it again. Might sneak in on him a little bit as Lopez pitches the ball, but Julio Franco can do a lot of different things. As we mentioned already, he's a great hit and run guy. Still can run very well. Drop down a bunt, hit the gaps, hit the ball out of the park.
Hit the ball hard here every time up last night. The other way. 0-1 pitch. Miss the inside corner.
A little bit surprised with the way that he does hit the ball that Steve Finley isn't even shaded more into right center field. Here's Finley right in this area. Here's Sanders way over here, and here in this area is where Franco loves to hit the ball. Of course, we already talked about the ability of Finley to chase him down.
Lopez with 19 losses is only the second pitcher in postseason history to make a start after losing 19 or more games during the regular season. You have to go all the way back to 1907. George Mullen of the Detroit Tigers went 20-20 with an ERA at 2.59. Fouled off behind the plate, a ball and 2 strikes.
You clearly do not think of a guy that's going to lose 19 games Run him out there and start him in the postseason. His career versus the Braves, however, 3 wins, 3 games. He's 2-0, and his ERA a very Schilling like .56.
Both of those wins in 2 of those starts coming this season. One with Tampa Bay and the second with Arizona when they swept the Braves here at Turner Field. 2-2. Lopez, one of those guys, and you hear him talked about frequently in baseball circles. Everybody thinks if we could just get that guy with our pitching coach, he could become a huge winner. Arizona thought the same thing when he came over here, and while he pitched better, he was not nearly as good as they were hoping for. 2-2, runner goes. Ground ball. Womack, they'll stay out of the double play. He throws out Franco, but Giles advances. Let's take a look at the Arizona defense, the top defensive team in the National League this season. Mark Grace, a 3-time Gold Glove winner at first. Matt Williams, a 3-time Gold Glove winner at third. Womack and Counsell up the middle. Gonzalez, Finley, and Sanders in the outfield. Lopez and Damian Miller, the battery. Chipper Jones, 3 of 11 in the series with 1 run batted in. Ball 1 away.
Now here's a replay of this ball that Franco hit with the runner on the move. You would have expected Womack to be covering the base, or actually Counsell to be covering the base, and they crossed up right there and let Womack take the ball and throw it over to get the out.
Chipper Jones knocked in the only Atlanta run against Curt Schilling here last night. The Braves 4 of 11 with runners in scoring position during the series. 1-0. Fastball away. Arizona's starting pitching, however, has dominated this Atlanta lineup. The Braves have 9 hits in 84 at-bats against the Diamondback starters Randy Johnson, Miguel Batista, and Curt Schilling in this series. 9 of 84.
If Albie Lopez, though, thinks that he can blow the ball past Chipper Jones up in the zone like Schilling did, he's got another thing coming. Does not throw nearly as hard, does not have the movement. Throws a nice little cutter, but as we said in the open, Lopez cannot be falling in love with his fastball. He doesn't have a good enough one to throw it by you up in the zone, and he needs that breaking ball to be effective to make his fastball better.
2-1 at Chipper Jones. Giles leads at second base. Way inside. 3-1. Brian Jordan waits on deck. Bobby Cox told us before the game he is definitely bringing Tom Glavine back on 3 days rest for Game 5 against Randy Johnson here tomorrow night. 3-1. Line to the left center field, a base hit. Rounding third, scoring is Giles. Chipper Jones coming into second base safely with an RBI double.
Now we knew on a 3-1 count if Chipper got a fastball he was going to hammer it, but this ball fooled Gonzalez out there as far as how hard it was hit. He took a route as if he thought he might have to go across all the way, maybe back to the wall, and that ball dropped in front of him and just kind of bounced around out there, and that allowed Chipper to go to second base.
Now Brian Jordan, he looks at a strike.
Chipper Jones hustling all the way, but look at the route that Gonzo takes. He thinks this ball might go to the wall. Now he takes a quick, sharp turn back in to get it, but Chipper's already rounding first and hustling into second. He would not have done that if Gonzo took a more straight route right to the ball rather than circling around it, thinking that it might get to the fence.
0-1 to Jordan. Off the plate, inside, a ball and a strike. Atlanta with the 1-0 lead here in the opening inning. What did Bob Brenly tell us? The first batter of the game would be key for Albie Lopez. He walked Marcus Giles, went to second on a ground out, and scores on the double by Chipper Jones. And when you hear that, somebody at home might say, well, what do you mean the first batter of the game? He might get on, and then all of a sudden the guy throws 7 shutout innings. Well, Bob Brenly knows Albie Lopez better than anybody around.
He knows that if he gets in trouble early, it can rattle him a little bit. And he said, not so facetiously, you might be looking down at that bullpen with someone getting up very, very early in this game.
Third base side, slowly hit. Williams looks Jones back to second, throws out Jordan, 2 away in the inning. And just like any other aspect of life, that's where you fall back on track record. Kurt Schilling, Greg Maddux, Randy Johnson, Tom Glavine, they give up a run in the first. Big deal. Bob Brenly's seen Albie Lopez struggle in the first, and it's turned into a big deal.
Well, playoff baseball rolls around. You tend to make decisions a little bit quicker. You can't afford to let games get out of hand. Even though they're up in this series 2-1, why give away a game if you don't have to?
Strike one to B.J. Surhoff on the outside corner. And while a lot of people in Atlanta, a lot of their fans we talked to earlier today, they say, oh, no, Randy Johnson coming back tomorrow night. If you're an Arizona fan, Tom Glavine's coming back tomorrow night. Glavine was sensational in his Game 2 win. 0-2 to Surhoff.
And that is going to be a classic mismatch of styles. Glavine, the master of hitting the outside corner, doesn't throw hard enough to break a pane of glass, and that guy right there that can throw the ball through a wall in just total power pitching, the definition of a power pitcher.
0-2. Bounces up there, blocked beautifully by Damian Miller.
And watch how tough this is to be a catcher and block a ball. This is like a 55-foot cutter. It's going to bounce back a little bit at Miller. He gets his glove on it and knocks it down. It's a very unnatural act for a catcher to see a ball in the dirt, and his first reaction is to go down on his knees to block it. Everyone else's first reaction is to turn your tail and run away from it.
Jones at second, 2 away, and a 1-2. Bounces up there again. Well, Bob Brenly caught in the major leagues for over 10 years. So did his bench coach, Bob Melvin. And both of them will tell you they believe Damian Miller should win the Gold Glove for his work defensively behind the plate. Mike Matheny, the reigning Gold Glove winner with the Cardinals.
Albie Lopez sitting this one out. Catcher for the Braves.
Two. Came with a breaking ball and missed tying away. So Lopez was in front 0-2. Now it's gone full.
Well, one of the things that Miller allows his pitchers to do is he gives them the confidence to throw a ball in the dirt. If you don't have any confidence that your catcher is going to block it, especially with men on base, the ball gets by you, everybody advances. You can throw the splitter in the dirt. You can throw the changeup in the dirt. You can even throw a cutter down there.
That ball driven hard into right center field, but Sanders will go to the alley and run it down, and the inning is over. A leadoff walk to Marcus Giles. Jones knocks him in. 1-0 Atlanta.
The League Championship Series on Fox is brought to you by the smooth, satisfying taste of Michelob Light. Beer or Michelob Light. By MasterCard, there are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard. And by the people of United Airlines. We are united.
Welcome back to Turner Field in Atlanta. Greg Maddux and the Braves with a 1-0 lead in Game 4 of this League Championship Series. Matt Williams, first pitch swinging, pops it up into foul territory. It's out of play. The Atlanta Braves had the best record in the National League when scoring first during the regular season. 60 wins, 18 losses. Williams 4 of 10 in the series, has a double and a run batted in. Started slowly during the division series, had the big double in the 9th inning of Game 5, setting up the winning run on the base hit by Tony Womack. 0-2.
Well, there's a lot of relief on that Arizona bench because of what Matt Williams is starting to do offensively. Little check swing right there. Not called on the swing, called on the pitch on the outside corner for a strike. Really had struggled through most of the season, struggled through the last couple of seasons with some injuries and not producing the way they thought that he should. But a lot of guys on that bench over there in Arizona are now saying we see the look in his eye again.
Get a look at the numbers. Williams against Maddux. Both been around a long time. 3-2 after Maddux jumped in front of Williams. 0-2. Of course, these two locked up all the way back in the 1989 League Championship Series. Maddux with the Cubs. Williams with the Giants. Likewise for the man on deck, Mark Grace.
What Matty tries to do is he tries to get one half of his body to go one way while the other half of his body is going the other way. You say, well, that's kind of funny. How do you hit that way? Well, eventually you get him right back to the same spot, and that's how you create balance.
That ball hit right at Brian Jordan. Williams hit it on the nose, but allowed out. 1 away.
Matt Williams wants his top half to go that way while his lower half is going that way. That way he gets his balance. Watch him bring his hands back. Now his feet go forward. There's your balance right on the ball. That's a pretty darn good swing to hit the ball the other way. The ball gets in on you just a little bit. And while your hands are going back to cock up your swing, your feet are feeling their way out to balance yourself up and give you a base.
Mark Grace, first pitch swinging, pops it up. Chipper Jones on the infield grass, 2 gone. Told you Maddux, an LCS record here tonight by starting in a league championship series for the 14th time. It's his 15th appearance. 4-7 the record, an ERA of 3.5. But those numbers inflated a little bit because in his first go round with the Cubs and very early on with the Braves, he didn't pitch well. If you go back to the 1995 NLCS since then, Maddux with a 2.02 ERA. Damian Miller, a liner under the glove of Julio Franco, a base hit and a right. The first Arizona hit against Maddux.
Opposite field hitting when Maddux tries to go outside. These guys, the Arizona hitters, doing a good job of staying on that pitch and just driving it the other way. See the head down with Miller and just shooting it to the right field side.
So now Albie Lopez only 1 hit in 29 at bats during the season after coming over from Tampa Bay. Strike 1. Breaking ball away. Showed you a little bit earlier, Greg Maddux in his career on 3 days rest, which he's pitching on 3 days rest tonight. 32 games, a 17-6 record with an ERA of under 2.5. 1-2.
You see 2 pitches in a row right there to Lopez, both breaking balls, curveballs, not the slider, but the curveball. Baco told me that he might only throw 3 or 4 curveballs all day long, and it's a good pitch to throw to a pitcher just to change his eye level, and it's a harder pitch to hit.
Well, in the inning, first strikeout of the game after the one earlier was dropped on the pass ball, so 2 total for Maddux and a 1-run lead.
The League Championship Series on Fox is brought to you by 7-Up and your local 7-Up bottler. Make 7-Up yours. By Prudential Financial. Prudential Financial can help you grow and protect your wealth. And by Alka-Seltzer Plus Cold Medicine. Breaks up your worst cold.
Tomorrow night, a dealer's choice for which game you want to watch right here on Fox. You'll get one game. The other game will be on your Fox Sports Net cable channel, so you get 2 for 1. It promises to be the most exciting night of baseball this year. Check your local listings, either Game 4 of the ALCS or Game 5 of this NLCS. A huge night of baseball tomorrow. And right here in Game 5, Randy Johnson against Tom Glavine. 0-1 to Andrew Jones, who lead things off in the Atlanta second inning. Braves in front 1-0. A leadoff walk to Marcus Giles to begin the Atlanta first. Moved to second on a ground out. And Chipper Jones knocked him in with a double to left center. Hit hard straight away center. Finley looks up. Goodbye. Atlanta. Jones' second postseason home run this year.
Well, Tom, before the game, I was walking around the stadium and a car cruised by me faster than I care to mention. It was a silver Ferrari 360. Andrew Jones hopped out of it. I don't think he got out of first gear in that, but that ball got out of this stadium faster than he was driving the car down the street.
Drive off the bat of Sanchez, caught by Gonzalez, and the Braves hitting the ball hard against Albie Lopez. That ball by Jones just crushed.
This is a bullet, and this ballpark plays very big at nighttime. The ball doesn't jump out of here, but that's a fastball right down the middle, and Andrew gets every bit of it, and he knows it. Look at the concentration. I'm thinking a 360 Ferrari could do a little faster than that, but not much.
2-0 Braves, and now to batter Baco. He sends the ball into deep right center field. Finley at the track has to run it down in front of the wall. Albie Lopez not fooling anybody early on tonight.
There's Andrew Jones, not even cracking a sweat so far in this game. I asked him how fast he's drifting that car. He looked at me and he started to tell me, and I said, no, don't tell me, because I won't be able to contain myself. If you tell me how fast you've driven that car, I'll tell everybody in the country, and then we're all in trouble, because I won't be able to keep the secret.
Saw Bobby Witt already getting loose in the Arizona bullpen. 2-0 Braves, and Maddux down a strike. Lopez allowed 2 home runs in his division series game 4 start to St. Louis, and allowed 26 of them during the regular year. 1-1 to Maddux. Down the left field line for extra base. Maddux making a turn, coming into second base, sliding with a double.
Well, if you're an Arizona fan, you better start worrying now, because you're throwing pitches out over the middle of the plate for guys like Maddux to hit. Not a bad hitting pitcher. Here comes Welch out to talk to Lopez, but this pitch is right down Broadway. Tommy, you could hit that one.
Don't get carried away.
Cannot leave bad pitches out over the middle of the plate like that to anybody who walks up there with a bat. We've seen balls in this inning get hit hard and often.
Greg Maddux's first double this season. A home run to straightaway center by Andrew Jones started the inning. A line drive by Sanchez, caught by Gonzalez for the first out. A liner by Baco to the wall for the second out. And now a double by Maddux.
And with 2 outs in this inning and Giles coming up to the plate as a leadoff hitter, Bob Brenly told us earlier today that he thinks Giles might feel the most comfortable at the plate as any hitter in the Atlanta order. And Giles has a number 3 hitter's mentality. Said all through the minor leagues, that's where I hit. Bobby Cox said, don't change anything I do up there. Don't try to act like a leadoff hitter. And he is up there bailing and wailing so far in this series.
2 down, Maddux at second. Ball 1 high to Marcus Giles, who walked an inning ago and scored on the double by Chipper Jones. Lopez has allowed double the number of runs in the first 2 innings that he did in 2 starts against this Atlanta team during the regular season. In the air, left center field. Finley is there, and the inning is over. A loud inning for the Braves, especially this swing. 2-0 Braves. We go to the 3rd. Tonight's game being seen live around the world by overseas servicemen and women through the facilities of the American Armed Forces Television Service. All of America salutes you and appreciates what you are doing for our country. May God watch over you and bless you. There's certainly no more apropos time than that right now. 2-0 Atlanta in front. And Greg Maddux, working on 3 days rest, has only allowed 1 base hit. Number off the bat. Womack dropped by Jones. Sloppy defense by the Braves here last night hurt the cause. Let's see if that turns out to be a big play in this inning.
Well, this is what speed will do for you, Tom. When you got a guy that can run a little bit, you try to hurry. But this ball, just a number. Not a funny little spin, but Chipper just gets it off the heel of his glove, doesn't close it in time, and now he knows as soon as he drops it, there's no chance he gets the speedy Womack. Just tried to hurry it a little bit because of the speed of Womack. He was running pretty fast right there, even in slow motion.
He can do that. It's the way he used to run.
Yeah, in my dreams.
Chipper Jones committed 18 errors during the regular season. Now Craig Counsell. He struck out, but reached base safely on the pass ball charge to Baco in the opening inning. Wound up being stranded at 3rd. Keep an eye on Womack. In their strike. It's been the one chink in the armor for Maddux through the years. You can run against him.
Does not hold runners on well. He's slow to the plate. Doesn't have a big leg kick. It's just that he's not a power pitcher. He's not trying to overwhelm you, so he takes his time getting to the plate, and Womack can fly.
Pitch out, Womack not running. Womack has a green light all the time. Occasionally Bob Brenly will give him the red light, don't run sign. But the 3 Diamondbacks who generally always have the green light: Womack, Sanders, and Finley.
Counsell's been a thorn in the Braves' side, not only in this series, but also in League Championship Series play, period. You remember he played for the Florida Marlins when they bumped off the Braves on the way to their World Series championship in '97. In the 8 games as Counsell's played against the Braves, he's hitting over 400 against them in League Championship Series play.
There goes Womack, and a throw down by Baco to second base, right on the back, and Womack slid into the glove of Giles.
Well, Giles was late covering first base on a bunt play yesterday. He's a little late covering second base. You'd like to have your second baseman straddling the bag to give the catcher a good target to throw to. But he makes a great tag even though he's a little late. Not getting to the bag. The throw hits him right in the glove, and he just leaves it there. That's a tough little backhand catch and then tag. Might have got Womack right in the noggin as he slid by there.
Slow roller at Sanchez. And he throws it away. Sanchez is fine a defender at shortstop as there is in the major leagues, and that throw not even in the same zip code.
Well, I think that ball took a funny little hop on Sanchez, and it bounced to his right. And then he never got a good grip on the ball as he let it go. Watch this ball go a little bit, see, off to his right. He has to catch that ball off his right leg. Normally, he'd catch it off your left. And then he just kind of airmails it there. Franco's going, where am I on that one? Look at that ball kick to his right. And then he never regrouped. He missed Franco by 10 feet over there at first base. You almost never see that from Ray Sanchez. Made 7 errors this season. Made only 4 errors all of last year.
Well, now Gonzalez a tying run at the plate. Strike one on the outside corner. The Diamondbacks have had 2 base runners in the inning, and neither batter hit the ball 75 feet. A number to Jones that he couldn't handle. Well, they cut down Womack trying to steal, and now a throwing error by Sanchez. On the ground through the right side into right field, a base hit. Counsell making a turn. He's coming to third, and Jordan will throw in a second. Aggressive base running by Craig Counsell. That's something you talked about earlier. It's not a fast Arizona team, but an aggressive Arizona team.
And that's a tough play for a guy on first base when he's trying to get to second, because what you try to do is make sure you avoid getting hit by the ball, number one, but you also try to get close enough to the ball where you can maybe mess up the opportunity for the second baseman to catch the ball. Watch Counsell as he has to slow down so he doesn't get hit, and then after he gets by him, he really has to turn it into third gear. And he doesn't have any problem doing that. This guy hustles as soon as he comes out of the locker room. Here's another look at it. Watch him have to stop, let the ball get by him, and now shift up. Great tag at second base, inside foot, had himself going straight to third, didn't take the big wide turn, got to third as quickly as possible.
Now Reggie Sanders. A number back to the mound. Maddux has Counsell in a rundown, but Jones never got to the bag. The Braves playing like a little league team defensively here in the top half of the third inning.
I don't know if Jones is surprised here that Counsell got off the bag, because he's thinking about going, and then Jones was, Jones was actually headed towards the ball as if he thought that ball might get over Maddux's head. Maddux with gold glove after gold glove. That ball's not going anywhere. He's got him in a rundown, but Jones is nowhere near third base. Now he can't get anybody at first. Everybody's safe. Said this last night. It's almost appropriate again tonight. You're looking for the dancing bears to come out with this defense that they're throwing out there right now.
Now they're loaded for Steve Finley. And a liner off the glove of Maddux. Goes over to retreat, throws to the plate, and it gets away from the catcher. Now rounding third and coming home is Gonzalez. The game is tied at 2. Sanders to third. Finley into second. Well, it's hard to knock a guy like Maddux. I mean, that's a line drive right back at him.
I mean, he does a great job of just getting his glove on this. He has 11 gold gloves. He wins it every year. Shot right back at him. Tough to get his glove on it. And now he tries to make a great play. And this isn't really a bad throw. It just gets in the way of Craig Counsell. Kind of goes on the other side of him. Look at Finley going right back up the middle. Maddux knocking it down. The smart play here is to probably stick it in your back pocket. But when you got 11 gold gloves, you think you can make any play. That is a bad throw. That ball sails on the other side of Counsell. Backel can't keep his glove on it. And here comes everybody in to score.
We're going to make sure that Maddux is okay. Leo Mazzoni going to have a chat with his right-hander, bringing him out a towel. The third error so far committed by the Atlanta defense here in the third inning. One by Chipper Jones, one by Ray Sanchez, and now the throwing error after an infield hit was given to Finley. The throwing error by Maddux allowed the tying run to score.
And it was the same scenario last night, and it was the defense that ultimately beat them. There's the ball off of Maddux's glove. Chipper's trying to think he can come in and get it. Maddux throws off his bad foot, falling down, gets away from Backo, and we're off to the races. Counsell makes sure he touches home and then waving everybody in. Wow.
Well, now all of a sudden Arizona has tied the game. They have the go-ahead run and Sanders at third, Finley the runner at second, and here's Matt Williams, who lined out to Brian Jordan his first time up. Ball 1-2 low.
You know, a lot of pitchers would get rattled by this situation. Not Greg Maddux. This is when you expect him to be at his best. When his world is crashing in on his head right here, this is where you expect him to settle down and get 2 outs without getting up another run.
On the outside corner of strength. That's a league championship series record. 3 errors in 1 inning. To Matt Williams. Low and away, 2 balls and a strike.
And amazingly, the errors come by a guy at shortstop that's widely regarded as maybe the best sure-handed shortstop in the game. Maddux with 11 Gold Gloves, and Chipper Jones down at third base. Didn't make very many errors for a third baseman this year.
Line into left field, a base hit. Reggie Sanders will score. They're going to hold Finley at third, give Matt Williams a run-scoring single, and Arizona, taking advantage of 3 Atlanta errors, gets its first lead of the game.
What are we talking about?
When you get to playoff baseball, you get the super slow-mo. Watch Williams' eyes, the concentration, eyes right on the ball. It doesn't get any better than that. I get goosebumps when I see those shots. The slow motion, the angles that we get in these games, unbelievable.
Now Mark Grace, he popped up to Chipper Jones his first time up. Line into left field, a base hit. Scoring is Finley. On to second goes Williams, and Mark Grace gets his first run batted in the entire postseason. He makes it 4-2 Diamondbacks.
Gracie doing a great job of going the other way. It's something that he's done his entire career. If you throw it out there, I'm going to hit it over there. Maddux with the pitch, tailing away from Grace. Once again, the concentration and just hitting the ball where it's pitched.
Should be 2. There's 1. There's 2. But not before the Braves commit an NLCS record 3 errors. Arizona scores 4 times. Tomorrow on America's favorite pregame show, JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris get together. Troy Aikman will talk with quarterback Kurt Warner, the St. Louis Rams, and Pam Oliver takes a look at the Packers' dominant defense. Plus Jimmy and Jillian, the undisputed champion. The Fox NFL Sunday pregame show, Sunday noon Eastern, 9 Pacific. Two Diamondbacks. Albie Lopez facing Julio Franco to open the bottom of the 3rd inning, and just like that, 2-0. And Bob Brenly will not wait any time whatsoever to go get Albie Lopez if he labors to begin this inning. Bobby Witt already throwing again in the Diamondback bullpen. 2-1.
Tom, one of the reasons why he won't be waiting to go to that pen is because he's not going to let this game get out of hand and just concede a loss in this series here in Atlanta. And one reason is because they really think they can get to Greg Maddux. Now, in that inning, there were a lot of errors that contributed to the runs they scored there, and the hits they got were after they should have been out of the inning.
Chopper towards Womack. He throws low. Grace able to get it. 1 away.
But in that locker room before the game today, there were a few guys, Gracie included, that said, we think we're pretty patient against a guy like Maddux. We're not a bad ball club on a team that's going to throw, and a guy that's going to throw a lot of strikes, be around the plate. We know he owns the corners, but as evidenced by that last inning, we're pretty good at hitting the ball where it's pitched, and they showed that they could do that in that inning.
Chipper Jones, the RBI double to left center field. Starting the scoring back in the opening inning. First pitch breaking ball in there, strike one. Lopez ahead, 0-2.
Well, Chipper, after a rough inning in the field, I don't know if it's just me or if you see it, Tommy, but there's a little fire in his eyes at the plate right now.
Couldn't agree with you more. That one lined into left field. It'll fall in front of Gonzalez. And that's the one area that has made Bob Welch crazy and Bob Brentley all year long. 2 strike hits allowed by Lopez. Of course, Jones, one of the game's best.
Yeah, but this is a huge mistake. That's a ball out over the middle of the plate. Way too hittable. 0-2 pitch. You got to buzz someone under their chin, throw a ball in the dirt, throw that curveball again to make sure that people think that you're going to continue to throw the curveball. And yet you throw a very hittable pitch out over the middle of the plate to one of the best hitters in the game.
Swing and a miss by Brian Jordan. Jordan had one of the biggest hits this season when Philadelphia and the Mets were trying to close in on the Braves for the NL East crown. He hit that 2-out, 2-strike grand slam in the bottom of the 9th inning, giving the Braves the 8-5 win. And that was the game, although mathematically Philadelphia still had a shot. But that was the game that really eliminated the Mets and propelled the Braves to yet another divisional championship. 1-2.
Well, when you think about the 10 straight divisional championships, very few of those were they very hard pressed to win. It was one of the first time in a number of years where they were challenged within their division at all. Certainly the challenge came in the postseason, and they, quite frankly, they didn't respond all that well. Only won 1 world championship. Many feel they should have won more. I'm one of them. The pitching staff that they've had and put together and been able to keep together for a long time, thought they should have had a chance or should have played better in the postseason. They were unable to get it done. This year they were challenged within the season, and I think that that should have made them a better club.
2-2 to Brian Jordan.
A lot of talk about the fact that when AOL came in and took over the team, that the purse strings were tightened up for this team. John Schuerholz was unable to spend money the way he used to. Couldn't get the type of players that they were used to picking up at the trading deadline. And it kind of possibly hamstrung this team.
Nasty pitch there by Lopez. That's his best pitch of the night. Hard fastball cutting in on the right-handed hitting Jordan.
Well, the book on Jordan, get him up and in. Up and in. Throw that thing right on his hands. That's just a good fastball. 4-seamer right past him. Welch will be a little happier about that one. Maybe he'll sit down. No, he won't.
There's no chance of that ever happening all night long. B.J. Surhoff takes high and away, ball 1. Bob Welch, of course, having to battle alcoholism. Has not had a drink in more than 20 years. And anybody who wants to talk to him about it, how to try and beat that addiction, he'll sit with you for hours. Still attends AA meetings. And he is very much active in Alcoholics Anonymous in the Phoenix area, where he's made his home for better than 10 years. And he could pitch.
Oh, no question.
Won 27 games during that 1990 season. 2-0 to Surhoff. Down the left field line towards the corner. That is a foul ball. Jones would have easily scored from first.
Welch is a bundle of energy, though. Boy, he makes you nervous if you're sitting next to him.
He does.
I knew he wouldn't sit there for very long.
Oh, no.
Got to find someone to talk to. He's got to pace back and forth. He's got to watch his pitcher. He's got to do a lot of things sitting down isn't on his agenda for very long.
Two-one to Surhall. Served into left field, a base hit. Advancing on to second is Chipper Jones. So here come the Braves. 2 on, 2 out. Time for a game break. Here's Jeannie Zalasko.
Tom, El Duque this close to being out of a jam in the 5th with 2 outs. Chuck Knobloch not close enough to make the play on the Brett Boone offering. 2-run score, and the Mariners go on to romp the Yankees. It is championship Sunday on the Fox networks. The Mariners will try to make it 2 straight in the Bronx. And it's the return of Randy Johnson as the D-backs and Braves meet for Game 5. You make the call. Find one on Fox Sports Net, the other on Fox Sports at 4:30 Eastern.
Paul Abbott and Roger Clemens, a pitching matchup. Abbott quietly putting together a 17-win season for Seattle. Clemens, terrific during the regular season, has labored in the postseason since injuring the hamstring. He's made 2 starts, not gotten a win, has only thrown 8 innings in 2 starts.
Hey, you're sending a guy out there that clearly isn't 100% like that guy is. Unbelievable domination. Everyone was kidding him in the clubhouse that he pitched so well, but his ERA went up. Give up a run. What are you doing? You're not feeling good. Let's get it going.
Andrew Jones, a liner right at Mark Grayson. That'll end the inning. 2 hits, 2 men left. We go to the 4th. 4-2 Arizona.
The League Championship Series on Fox is brought to you by Kia Motors, makers of a full line of quality cars backed by an incredible warranty.
Hank Greenberg was a baseball legend whose accomplishments transcended the game. He was a hero to his country and to humanity. Now available in stores on VHS and DVD is the multiple award-winning film, The Life and Times of Hank Greenberg, featuring authentic footage from baseball's golden era. In stores now or at hankgreenbergvideo.com. Want to remind you, tomorrow our dual coverage of the American League Championship Series Game 4, National League Championship Series Game 5 begins at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. The night is over for Albie Lopez. David DeLucci comes on to pinch hit. Lopez lasts 3 innings, allows 5 hits and 2 runs. Arizona with a 2-run lead. DeLucci pops it up in a shallow center field. It'll fall for a hit. Depending on what the Diamondbacks elect to do with Reggie Sanders, a free agent, there are a lot of people that believe DeLucci would be an outstanding everyday player.
Now, there's no question about that. What an outstanding job this bench has done of putting the ball in play, getting hits, hitting the ball out of the ballpark. I had a long conversation with DeLucci today. He said, yeah, no question I want to play every day. It's tough coming to the ballpark, not knowing if you're going to play. I still see the ball great, but I can't do anything about it sometimes. He said a lot of times I get jammed just like that on a pitch that I see really well, but I'm just, I'm not in a game. It's hard to pinch hit.
DeLucci did play every day in Arizona's inaugural season. He was an expansion draft choice from the Baltimore Orioles organization. Led the National League in triples playing every day. And then had a very serious wrist injury, and they thought his career might come to an end the next year. Taken outside. Ball 1 to Tony Womack.
He didn't really go into detail with me, but he said he had a bone in there that was dying.
Right.
Had to get it out of there, and really spun his career into a area where he didn't want it to be. Couldn't get on the field, couldn't play, missed the year. Brian Anderson in the bullpen now for the Diamondbacks.
And apparently he will come on the pitch in the bottom of the 4th inning. Bobby Witt was up earlier, you may recall. But now the southpaw, Brian Anderson.
Lopez may have had his easiest inning last inning, and he's gone.
It was the first and only inning he didn't allow a run. 1-0 to Womack. And he bunts it up the first base line, but foul.
I think that's a good sign. We've seen him try to bunt the ball in each of his last 2 at-bats, neither time successfully, but the reason why Tony Womack has had his struggles is when they pitch away from him and he goes ahead and tries to hit that pitch. He needs to get the ball inside. He's one of the few guys that you'd say go up there and try to pull the ball more often, but when he hits the ball the other way, he loops under the ball and hits too many fly balls. A guy that can run like he can needs to hit the ball on the ground more often.
Shows bunt, takes outside, 2-1. Womack had 7 sacrifices during the year.
And that last time he was trying to bunt for a base hit, and if he sacrifices the guy over, he'll take it. That time he squared around and was told to sacrifice the bunt.
See if Bob Brenly changes up his thinking now. The count at 2-1. There goes DeLucci. And it's chuck foul, third base side.
Hit and run that time. Brenly putting on a bunch of different plays. Boy, I used to like to have that luxury as a hitter, especially if you can bunt. For the guy on first base, you take a bunt with you, you try to drag it. If they get you out, you get the sacrifice. If they don't, safe base hit, guy on second, guy on first, we're all happy.
Pretty good deal.
You almost can't lose as a hitter.
Womack asking for time at the plate. Maddux shaking off a couple of signs from Baco. Two to Womack. Pulled, foul. Womack broke his bat.
Maddux did a great job of going away from Womack in his last at-bat.
There's another Brenly. The bat boy, Michael Brenly.
Boy, that break in school in Arizona, the fall break of which they were off last week, came at a perfect time for Michael, didn't it?
Yeah, but he already said Mom's already put the kibosh should the Diamondbacks advance on to the World Series.
Come on, Mom. How many times you get to go to the World Series?
2-2. Crowd off again behind the plate. Of course, this is only game 4. And it's only 2 games to 1 in Arizona's favor.
Well, I like this from Tony Womack. Look at him trying to slap the ball. Look at him trying to hit the top half of the ball, trying to keep the ball on the ground. Just slapping at the ball. A guy that can run as well as he can should never hit the ball in the air.
Which he does here, but it's out of play.
It's like the old Major League movie with Willie Mays Hayes. If you hit the ball in the air, you should have to drop and give me 20 push-ups on the spot. Maybe Bob Brenly will employ that.
That's why you're built so well now, right?
Yeah. Get up and do push-ups every morning. Push the covers off the bed. That's not what I do. And go take a shower.
2-2 again. And again, slap foul.
Boy, that ball went screaming into the stands. Looks like everybody's okay, though.
Quite a duel here between Maddux and Womack. This will be the 9th pitch in this at-bat. And it's pulled down the right field line. The ball will go to the wall. DeLucci on his way to third base. Chris Fire will hold him there. And Womack in with a double. Bobby Cox told us before the game we will make a pitching mistake if Womack pulls anything. And clearly that was a mistake.
That's the ball on the inside part of the plate. That's the pitch that Bob Brenly wants him to pull. They're saying get out front, pull the ball a little bit more often. This is a nice line drive. This is the little comeback pitch that came back way too much. It didn't start far enough inside on Womack. And this ball down the line, as we talked about, any guy that can run like Womack, you can forget about him stopping on first base anytime.
Well, Atlanta guarding against the idea of a suicide squeeze here by Craig Counsell as Mike Remlinger cranks it up in the bullpen. First pitch swinging Counsell. He drops one fair down the left field line. 2 runs are going to score. Counsell going into second with a 2-run double, and Arizona opening a 6-2 lead over Maddux and the Braves.
Asked Craig Counsell before the game what he would try to do against Maddux if he would look to cheat on that comeback pitch on the inside part of the plate like Womack did, and he said, no way. I will not do anything but hit the ball the other way all day long. And that's what he's done so far tonight. This one down the left field line, this guy, Craig Counsell, is killing the Braves.
Counsell 6 hits in 14 at bats now with a pair of doubles, has scored 4 times. Those his first 2 runs batted in. And here comes Bobby Cox. So Greg Maddux hurt by his defense in the 3rd inning, but then allowed some big hits to Matt Williams and Mark Grace after the game was tied because of that poor defense. Gives up 3 straight hits to begin the 4th inning. And we'll see if Cox is going to make the change.
We talked about postseason pitchers on 3 days rest. They're 1-9. Cox just made the call to the bullpen, and Maddux is done.
They got 4 1/3 innings out of their starter last night. 3+ out of Maddux tonight. Our AT&T call to the bullpen. Greg Maddux leaves after 3+ innings, allowing 8 hits, 6 runs so far, and now on to pitch left-hander Mike Remlinger. Remlinger has battled a bad back, a tender arm all year long. Bob Brindley a moment ago wearing a microphone. Our Fox sounds of the game cheering on Tony Womack, the batter at the time.
BDT, come on up. Hook one through that hole. Hook one all the way down that corner.
And there it was down in that corner.
You know, if these guys did everything Brindley would say, they'd never lose a game.
No kidding.
You just have to talk to them, I guess. Communication. Baseball and relationships. That's what it's all about.
Wow. Dropping the relationships on us here.
Isn't that what they say? I wouldn't know. I don't talk to anybody.
Ball 1 to Luis Gonzalez. Runner at second, Craig Counsell, a 2-run double down the left field line to knock Maddux out of the game. 2-0 to Gonzalez, hit by a pitch on his right hand in the opening inning. Single to right, a big base hit back in the Arizona 4-run 3rd.
What a great job Remlinger did during the season for these Braves.
Pulled Gonzalez there, 2-1.
Talked to Bobby Cox again before the ball game today and asked him if he was concerned about having to use his bullpen as quickly as he had to last night, and then once again doing it again tonight. He said, yeah, this is not the plan. He said, if I had to do this every night, I'd pretty much burn out my bullpen, wouldn't I? I wouldn't have one after a while.
Well, Bobby has to be very concerned, but it's still a long way to go. Arizona already going into its bullpen. David DeLucci batted for the starter Albie Lopez to begin this inning. Gonzalez a hearty cut. Fouling it straight back, but certainly this is not what Bobby Cox had in mind for Greg Maddux. His shortest postseason outing.
Leo Mazzoni there just to the right of Bobby Cox in perpetual movement. You will never not see him doing that. Talk about a guy that makes you nervous. Him and Welch together? Oh, forget about it.
2-2. Just low.
Mazzoni told me before the game that during batting practice, he snuck out into the center field, found himself a TV, and watched a little bit of the Notre Dame game. He said, I needed to do something to calm my nerves. I was a little nervous today before the game. Nothing like a little college football for you, I guess.
And you know Craig Counsell was dialed into that one as well. Counsell played collegiately for the Fighting Irish. There's ball 4 low to Luis Gonzalez.
And Notre Dame beat USC in that game 27-16. Just thought I'd catch you up. I am a sports anchor when I don't do this stuff.
Two on, nobody out. 4 consecutive batters have reached here in the Arizona 4th inning. 2 have scored. And now Sanders 0 for 2, stole a base and scored a run. Pitch on the way to Sanders on the outside corner of strength. DeLucci started the inning with a base hit. Loop single into center field. Went to third on a double by Womack. Lowe scored on a double by that man Counsell. Remlinger came on for Maddux and walked Gonzalez. 1-1 to Sanders.
Tom and I earlier had talked about the conversation with Counsell about how he was going to try to continue to go to left field against Maddux. You know, it's one thing to say that that's what you're going to try to do, but a lot of times you get in a game situation and your emotions take over, or the adrenaline, or you get another idea. It's so hard to stick with a game plan, and to be able to do that is really amazing.
Well, many who watch Arizona will tell you Luis Gonzalez could well be the National League's most valuable player, but Craig Counsell might be the Diamondbacks MVP. And Steve Reed cranks it up in a hurry. Counsell's played everywhere and has won an everyday job. Fouled out of play, first base side. Counsell played third base when Matt Williams was injured. Jay Bell was playing second. Then they flip-flopped, moving Bell to third, Counsell to second. Played a lot at shortstop when Tony Womack lost his father earlier in the season, and then Womack went on the disabled list with a calf injury. Counsell played first base. He's had a terrific year. 1-2. Just off the outside edge.
Now Bobby Cox said of Craig Counsell, he said it's amazing. Every spring this guy's looking for a job, and every postseason he finds his way back to playing against me. This guy got released by the Dodgers. He told me that no team was going to be interested in a guy like me if they didn't think that they were going to play me. They didn't think of not necessarily playing all the time, but if a team doesn't have a role for me where I can bounce around and play maybe 4 or 5 different positions and spell guys that need a break and then go back to the bench, because I can handle doing that, and there's a lot of guys that can't. Everyday players that later in their career become part-time players will come up to utility guys and say, I'm sorry I didn't give you any respect early in my career. I had no idea how tough this is, sitting on the bench and then trying to go up and get a hit.
3-2. Sanders lifts a fly ball into short left center field. Andrew Jones makes a catch, and Counsell bluffing the tag, forcing the throw. You jumped all over it, Steve. Let her rip.
Oh, no, that's not my line. I will not steal your material.
No, by all means.
No.
You know they're standing and cheering in Counsell Bluffs, Iowa.
As he did it again.
Yeah.
Is that anywhere near Omaha, Nebraska?
Right next door. Now Steve Finley. He looks at ball 1 low. Finley knocked in 3 runs in the Arizona win here last night. An RBI single in the 4-run third inning here tonight.
And if Maddux didn't get his glove on that, that would have done some more damage.
1-0. Fouled out of play, first base side. Finley was benched by Bob Brenly the first series after the All-Star break. He was having a miserable time, hitting at .233 with only 5 home runs. Brenly sat him down, said, you do whatever you have to do to get things right. The numbers tell the rest of the story.
And of course he was injured. He broke his hand last September, and he said it took him a long time to be able to extend on a swing. You'll see on the last pitch here, even though he fouled it off, this is being able to get through the ball and extend through it. That was something that he was not being able to do. He'd get halfway through his swing, he wouldn't be able to roll over, and he was just blocking balls off into right center field and left center field.
Franco will throw to second. They get the out there. Return to Remlinger. Safe at first. Finley. On to third goes Counsell. 2 gone in the inning. Julio Franco has played some slick first base for Atlanta.
He's done a great job, and Bobby Cox told us that maybe one of the best at turning the double play as a first baseman. Spins, fires a strike right to Sanchez. Sanchez back on to first, but Finley can fly. Watch Finley get down the line. Very tough guy to double up. Maybe the only reason they didn't turn that double play is that Julio Franco was playing a little deeper than normal double play depth. People shouldn't forget that Julio Franco spent most of his career as a very slick fielding second baseman.
Now Matt Williams. Strike 1 on the inside corner. Remlinger's done an excellent job since coming on for Maddux. He came on, walked Gonzalez, but has since taken care of Sanders and Finley. One and one.
You got to wonder how long they're going to stay with Remlinger as well, because Bobby Cox told us that before yesterday's game he would be hesitant to use him. He did have to use him. He's had back problems and elbow problems.
One. Blowing away to Williams. 2 balls and a strike.
But I like his socks. The old style Brave socks, showing the stripes, showing some color.
He has been quite a pickup for the Braves. They weren't sure what they were getting. A very inconsistent performer was Remlinger for the first 6-7 years of his career. One hopper right at Franco, and Remlinger does an excellent job in relief of Maddux. But Arizona scores 2 more after 3.5. 6-2 Diamondbacks. And for the bottom half of the 4th inning, a 6-2 Arizona lead, and now on in relief was in the Diamondbacks starting rotation most of the year. Left-hander Brian Anderson. He was on the disabled list 3 different times during the season. Strike 1 on the outside corner.
How about some of the members of the Arizona press having a field day with some of the comments or non-comments or comments that have been embellished.
That one down the right field line. Sanders will not get it. A little bloop double into right by Ray Sanchez.
Ray Sanchez just getting a little piece of that ball out and away from him. As soon as he hits it, he's saying, ah. But now he knows it's in nowhere's land out there. Nobody can get it. 3 guys trying, and then nobody actually picks it up. Here comes Sanders. Can't quite shoot top it. And then he just leaves it there like a fumble. And on into second goes Sanchez. We're talking about some of the papers in Arizona talking about the comments that Matt Williams had made about the possibility of himself finishing his career back in San Francisco. Now it's been picked up that Brian Anderson maybe has said that he wouldn't mind being in Cincinnati.
Bernard Gilkey will come up as a pinch hitter. Gilkey, a former Arizona Diamondback, as Javier Lopez waits in the on-deck circle. Gilkey batting for Paul Bacco. Ball one low.
A lot of the Arizona players in the clubhouse before the game were kind of having a good laugh with all that stuff, which is a good thing, because it can be a bad thing if you're not laughing about it. Last thing you need to hear about is that one of your teammates want to get off of a team that's trying to make a run at the World Series.
2-0 to Gilkey. Anderson with postseason experience. He was fabulous, you may remember, out of the Cleveland Indians bullpen back in the '97 LCS and the '97 World Series. 3-0 now to Gilkey. He pitched in 3 games in the LCS for the Indians against Baltimore, went 1-0 with a 1.42 ERA, allowed 1 hit in 6 innings, and then 3 games in the World Series with an ERA of 2.4. 3-1 to Gilkey.
I had dinner with Brian Anderson the night before that appearance for the Cleveland Indians, where he came in and just dazzled. He couldn't wait to get the ball.
3-1 to Gilkey. Swing and a miss. And then Anderson in 1999 as a starter with 7 innings against the New York Mets in Game 4. Allowed only 2 runs. But he's been oft injured this season and has never gotten into a groove. He's had a down year. Ball 4. So he comes in, allows a bloop double to right, and now walks the pinch hitter Gilkey. And here comes Javi Lopez.
And once again, for all the casual viewers that have not been watching baseball on Fox all throughout the season, this is our Fox box. We love it. This is the diamond over here. The yellow diamonds represent guys on first and second base. There's your score. What inning we're in, the bottom of the 4th inning. Nobody out right now. And, of course, the silhouette of Tom Brenneman. And then, after the pitcher throws the pitch, right up in this area, we'll tell you how hard it was thrown. Maybe 100 miles an hour.
Javier Lopez looks at a strike. A long way to go. Atlanta only down 4, and we're only in the bottom of the 4th inning. The Arizona bullpen, as Lightenberg cranks it up in the Braves bullpen, the Diamondbacks bullpen roughed up in Game 2. And Albie Lopez tonight only able to give him 3 innings as their starter.
There it was at 89 miles an hour. Our man Mark Cole running a Fox box. Nobody does it better.
No. 1-1. Bounces up there. The Braves trying to get back in the game.
It's one of the reasons why Lopez did not make the start tonight, was for this specific purpose, being able to bring him in off the bench and maybe juice one.
Pops it up on a 2-1 pitch. Infield fly rule in effect, and that'll be the first out. Let's take a game break and send it to Jeannie Zelasco.
Tom, Brett Boone has struggled throughout the entire postseason, but the AL MVP candidate found his stroke at Yankee Stadium. His 2-run home run, just 2 of his 5 RBIs on the day, leading the Mariners over the Yankees in a pivotal Game 3. It is Championship Sunday on the Fox networks. The Mariners will try to make it 2 straight in the Bronx, and it's the return of Randy Johnson as the D-backs and Braves meet for Game 5. You make the call. Find one on Fox Sports Net, the other on Fox Sports, 7:30 Eastern, guys.
All right, Jeannie, thank you very much. We're looking forward to that Game 5 here tomorrow night. 2 on, 1 out. And Giles looks at a strike from Brian Anderson on the outside corner. Giles has walked, scored, and flied out to center. Sanchez, a bloop double. Gilkey drew a walk, and now it's 1-1 on Giles with 1 man out.
Tom, I like this situation as you look at the outfield defensively for the Diamondbacks. You circle all of them playing fairly deep here, even with a 6-2 lead and 1 out. You don't want the runner scoring from first on a ball in a gap here. preserving runs. Even with a 6-2 lead, you have to play playoff games like there's a possibility that something might go wrong and you'll lose it, much the way Joe Torre does with the Yankees. Joe Torre goes for the jugular like no other manager I've ever seen. He's got a lead. He doesn't care. He's going to bring his guys in. He's going to bring his closer in, close up that game, go home with a win.
Foul out of play, still 1-2.
Bob Brenly does not want Giles to juice one in the gap here and have anybody scoring all the way from first base. You hit a double like that, you want to make sure that you try to keep the damage to a minimum. Have the guy only from second being able to score.
1-2 pitch. Fastball off the inside corner. Anderson pitched a pair of games coming into tonight in this postseason and has pitched well. 4 innings, 3 hits, only 1 run. He has outstanding control. That walk to Gilkey, a rare walk for Anderson. 2-2. On the ground, should be 2. There's 1. And that's a double play to end the inning. We'll return to Atlanta after a break from your local Fox station. Go to the 5th inning, 6-2 Arizona in front of the Braves, and now the right-hander Kerry Lightenberg comes on for Bobby Cox.
That's the number that looks a little strange for the Braves fans who saw Lightenberg develop into the closer of this team before he got injured.
Mark Grace looks at ball 1. We saw Lightenberg here last night. A perfect inning. Lopez takes over behind the plate.
Of course, for you Brave fans out there, you might not be recognizing Lightenberg as well, because he used to have those good sideburns working. They were way down there like that. Shaved them off. It was like his trademark. No more.
Riano to Grace. He'll be followed by Damian Miller and then Brian Anderson. Of course, those little guys right there, that's their trademark.
But do they go to school that way?
It all depends on how superstitious they are.
I thought Halloween was a few days away.
I mean, if they got painted up like that back in, you know, they're not old enough to go back to 91, but maybe back 97. You have to go to school like that every day, every year.
Yeah, that's right. A little superstitious.
Now there's a good look.
Not that happy about it.
No.
Good eye by Grace.
I'd like to remind you, you can wear the new MLB Authentic Collection Premier Jacket of your favorite team, featuring ripstop nylon and micro fleece lining. Order now. 1-800-365-0600. Great looking stuff. All the clubs around Major League Baseball. Only the 5th inning here at Turner Field. The Braves jumped out to a 2-0 lead. Arizona has scored 6 unanswered runs. Strike called at Damian Miller, 0-1.
Now, we talked about Kerry Lightenberg. Like a lot of pitchers that do throw a split finger pitch, they'll hold it as a split finger grip every time as they put the ball into their glove. Every pitch looks like that when he goes into his glove. Then he adjusts if he doesn't want to throw the splitter. The reason they do that is because it's a lot easier to let go of the split finger grip in your glove rather than to try to dig and grab it after it gets in your glove. That's just a good old country fastball right there with the fingers close together on the seams. There's the same split grip.
On the ground, should be 2. Took a funny hop on Giles, made a nice play, and Sanchez turns it nicely. 2 gone. moment, it's time to take a look at our multi-award winning rendition of the MasterCard Fan Cam. Again, the tune selected by none other than Steve Psycho Lyon. See, your musical tastes are not necessarily psychotic.
I am a cultured music man.
Well, you were talking about when we were in New York going to a musical again.
Wanted to go see Phantom of the Opera again for the 6th time.
Strike called to Brian Anderson.
Tommy, I want to show you this play right here as it takes a bad hop on Giles. The reason why he makes that play is because his glove was down and he came up to get the bad hop. If you don't start with your glove down, there's no way you can make that reaction.
Swing and a miss by Anderson, and that'll end the inning. So good work by Leitenberg. Go to the bottom of the 5th, 6-2 Diamondbacks.
The League Championship Series on Fox is brought to you by Energizer. Do you have the bunny inside? By Domino's Pizza. Get the door, it's Domino's. And by Chevy Trucks, the most dependable, longest-lasting trucks on the road.
Don't forget, tomorrow, a Fox NFL Sunday double dip. JB, Terry, Howie, and Chris get you ready for kickoff, and then Kurt Warner and the Rams take on Curtis Martin and the Jets. Or other regional action, a second game of our doubleheader will be the Packers and the Vikings. Coverage gets underway, noon Eastern, 9 Pacific on Fox. Big inning right here for Atlanta.
Rams beat the Jets and the Packers beat the Vikings. You know I'm undefeated this year on my picks.
Unbeaten.
It's unbelievable. I should start a service.
Well, maybe that's something to look for in the very near future.
I doubt it.
Franco, Chipper Jones, and Brian Jordan against Brian Anderson on in relief of Albie Lopez. Liner right at Grace. Hard hit ball again by Franco, and he's got to be wondering, what in the world do I have to do to get a hit?
He doesn't change his philosophy even with the left-hander. Still trying to go hard the other way. This ball's hit so hard it almost looks like it catches Grace rather than the other way around. Look at that ball tail back in on him. Gracie had to make an adjustment just at the last second to make sure he got that ball in his glove. Grace is so cool, though. He threw it over there around the horn quickly as if to say, hey, everything's good. I'm all right.
Now Chipper Jones. He takes a strike on the outside corner. Well, you never know if Julio Franco is going to wind up back here next year. But I think he's proving to everybody that he is still very much a more than serviceable ball player. He can hit, and he can play well at first base.
The big mystery is exactly how old the guy is. People are starting to care less and less.
Roller off the end of the bat, right at Council, and Jones thrown out. So Anderson, 2 up, 2 down against the heart of the Atlanta batting order here in the bottom of the 5th.
How old does he look to you, Tommy?
40. Right on the nose, just like the media guide said.
So what you're saying is that I look older than him.
Well, I mean, your age is very much up for debate right now as well. Apparently telling, as I mentioned yesterday, some of those in the national media that you were 36.
That would be
which
wrong.
We know would be wrong.
You don't have to be so emphatic about it.
1-1 at Jordan.
I just think it's a great story with Franco. People say 40, others say 43. Talked to Gonzalez today in the Arizona Diamondback locker room. He said 48. Where he came up with that number, I don't know. Franco saying, who cares? I can hit.
Playing in his 4th decade is Julio Franco professionally. Veteran roster for this Atlanta team and the Arizona team. Had to pick up Cam and Nettie late in the year.
How about the oldest hitter-pitcher matchup? in this series. Julio Franco facing Mike Morgan. Morgan, 42 years old, 12 different franchises he's played for. Franco, they list him at 40, and that's just a flat-out lie.
Hopped it up. Greg Counsell tucks it away, and Brian Anderson, a 1-2-3 inning.
The League Championship Series on Fox is brought to you by Budweiser, with the crisp, clean, refreshing taste you'll find in no other beer. This Bud's for you.
Starting at 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific on Fox or Fox Sports Net. A dealer's choice for which game you'd like to watch right here on Fox. You'll get one game in the playoffs, and the other will be on your Fox Sports Net cable channel, so you get 2 for 1. It'll be the most exciting night of baseball just this year. Check your local listing. And for those of you wondering, by the way, here in Atlanta for sure, this game will be on your local Fox affiliate, and likewise back in Phoenix and throughout Arizona. 2-0 to Tony Womack. The Diamondbacks here in Game 4, already leading this National League Championship Series 2-1. A 6-2 lead. Womack, a fly ball into short right center field. Jones has got it, one away. Greg Counsell doing his thing again.
Even when he strikes out, struck out and hustled to first. Then a little bouncer that Sanchez threw away. Base hit to left that scored 2. Hustling all day long. Counsell's one of those guys where they just absolutely get on him like there's no tomorrow in the clubhouse. Now they're getting on him about that crazy stance that he's working with. They call it Bagwell. It's a Nomo. Early in his stance, he looks like Jeff Bagwell, and then he goes up there and looks like Hideo Nomo in his windup.
Whatever works.
I asked him about it. I said, why do you stand so tall up there with your hands up over your head? He says, I change occasionally. He said, I do different things, but right now, this is what feels the most comfortable to me.
Wayne Murphy, the Arizona hitting coach, watching Counsell look at ball 3.
Might feel comfortable to Counsell, but makes me hurt. You can feel a pulled rib cage muscle as soon as he stretches up there.
For Leitenberg, a borderline call. He gets there for a strike. Of course, October heroics, nothing new to Counsell, who drove in a tying run in the 9th inning in Game 7 of the 1997 World Series for the Florida Marlins. There's a rocket into left center, right at Andrew Jones. And then Counsell scored the game-winning run in the 11th inning, igniting the Marlins celebration. Now Luis Gonzalez has been on base 3 times in the game. Hit by a pitch in the right hand by Greg Maddux in the first. Single to right, scored in the third, was walked in the fourth. Strike 1.
Said one of the reasons why he's having so much trouble in this series that they're pitching him so much more differently than they did during the regular season. Going away from him more often. He said teams still, during the regular year, tried to get in on him. That one in with a little slider.
Leitenberg trying to mow him down in order here in the 6th. Get his team back to the plate. 1-2.
There's the splitter from Leitenberg, and Leitenberg's very, very close to getting back to the pitcher that he was when they used him as the closer. Let's check out the split finger grip. That is an excellent view, and he holds that maybe a little tighter than what we saw from Schilling last night, and a little bit different arm angle, a little bit more off to the side than Schilling.
0-2 to Gonzalez. Hook to the right side. Franco's got it. They'll wave off Reitenberg. Inning over. Good work by the Atlanta right-hander. 2 innings of no hit, no run baseball, but his team trails by 4. Bottom of the 6th inning, Atlanta looking for base runners, trying to get back in it, trailing by just 4. It'll be B.J. Surhoff, Andrew Jones, and Ray Sanchez coming up against Brian Anderson, who begins his 3rd inning in relief of Albie Lopez. Strike 1 on the outside corner. It's been a different Atlanta Braves team from those in years past. By and large, they have dominated the competition in the National League East, going all the way back really since the second half of that 1991 season. That one stroked down the line, foul. 0-2 to Surhoff. And they generally had guys, household names at just about every position. But this year you brought up some of the changes since America Online bought the team, rather than originally, of course, Ted Turner and then Time Warner, and then AOL bought Time Warner, and it's been very different than in years past. They had to flip over 3/4 of their infield after Furcal got hurt early in the year. Sanchez took over at short. Giles took over at second when they released Barry. There's a base hit in the right, and then Franco played over at first base. But Bobby Cox will tell you, through it all, it's been a resilient bunch once again to get to this point.
Yeah, we wouldn't be here. You know, there's no complacency in this organization. Never has been. And you couldn't possibly win for as many years as this organization has and not care about it. We care a lot, and it would have been easy for several teams to fold up this year. We had a lot of problems, and we've overcome them.
Well, I think a lot of people have always thought that the Atlanta Braves are a very business-like team.
Andrew Jones hits one in the air, left center field. This one will stay in the park. 1 away.
Business-like, almost to the point of boring, non-exciting. They go about their job much the way Bobby Cox goes about his job. Of course, Bobby will argue a call every once in a while. Chipper Jones, one of the team leaders on this club. John Schuerholz, the GM. Not a lot of rah-rah type players in this organization, and I'll tell you, the one guy that they did have a little bit of that going for him was the guy that brought a lot of attention to this organization that they did not want, John Rocker. And of course, they eventually traded him away this season.
What an unbelievable job both Cox and Schuerholz have done here in Atlanta. I mean, this was a baseball town, a ghost town. I mean, it would be the last stopping ground for a lot of players at the end of their major league career. They'd average about 4,000 or 5,000 a night if they were lucky. Bobby Cox came on, became the general manager. Many forget that part of Bobby Cox's resume. He was a manager here for many years, went to Toronto, came back as the GM. They started developing some great players, had some terrific drafts, made a couple of key trades.
Stole John Smoltz.
And then Bobby Cox took over as field manager when John Schuerholz came over from Kansas City. That one lined hard into center field, and it's caught by Finley. 2 away in the inning, and they have been a powerhouse ever since. They have been the team of the 90s as far as the National League and all the Major League Baseball is concerned. The one part, of course, missing, being able to finish the job. And I know you feel strongly that this team should have more than just the red flag there, which is the World Series title of '95. Well, they've been the team of the 90s in the National League for sure. They have dominated this league. Mark DeRosa now on the pinch hit for Leitenberg. 0-1.
Talked about how things have changed financially for this team when they used to be able to go out and get almost anyone they wanted at a trading deadline. This year, Julio Franco out of the Mexican League, although Franco's done an excellent job for them. Ken Caminiti, who tried to play first base, didn't work out all that well, and not even on this league championship series roster.
Randy Johnson. Looking over the scouting reports, preparing mentally for his start in Game 5 tomorrow night. Anderson has one of the best pickoff moves in the business. Andy Pettit-like. The National League Andy Pettit move.
Yeah, and as a guy who was never a pitcher and a former guy that would try to steal a base, even though I didn't have great speed, that's a balk move is what that is. Your foot's supposed to go towards first base when you throw over there. Tell me where that foot went.
Two on DeRosa. Foul out of play, first base side.
And the umpires will let you get away with a move like Anderson has. And I'm not saying that certain umpires will and certain ones won't. It's pretty well known that lefties cheat over there on that balk rule quite often. They get away with it. It's almost a foregone conclusion that they're not going to step towards first base even when they throw over there.
Pulled foul down the third base line out of play. And really, there is absolutely no excuse, is there, Steve, for a left-hander not to have a good move? I mean, that's something unlike maybe, you know, being blessed with a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. That's something you can practice and get better at.
And lefties are far more deceptive than the right-handers because they're looking at you. And Anderson, as you mentioned, one of the best moves in the game, picked off 8 guys this year. That was first in the National League. But that deception, you cannot have a right-hander lift his leg, go 3/4 of the way to home plate, put it down, and turn and throw over to you like the lefties do. Much more difficult to steal a base off a left-handed pitcher. Much more difficult to read the moves. Or you might not even be trying to steal, and they can still pick you up.
Fly ball into short right field, and Anderson becoming a big story in this game. He has gone 3 innings of 1-hit shutout baseball. Go to the 7th, 6-2. We welcome you to Game 4 of the National League Championship Series from Turner Field in Atlanta. The Braves scored in the first, scored in the second for a 2-0 lead as Rudy Cianez now takes over on the mound. But the Diamondbacks scored 4 runs in the 3rd inning, thanks in large part for a second straight night to shoddy Atlanta defense.
Shoddy at best. If you want to really say what it was, it's bad defense that they had today by some guys that they've counted on all year long to provide good defense.
A National League Championship Series record 3 errors committed by the Braves in that 4-run Arizona 3rd. The Diamondbacks tacked on 2 more runs in the 4th inning, chasing Greg Maddux as Reggie Sanders is down a strike. Maddux lasted 3 innings and 3 batters. The shortest outing of his postseason career. Allowed 8 hits, 6 runs.
And if you remember, it was after the errors were made was when the Diamondbacks really started getting their base hits. Maddux could have been out of that 4-run 3rd way before the damage was done.
Sanders to be followed by Steve Finley and then Matt Williams against Rudy Cianez, who's back again after missing nearly a year with elbow surgery. Well, when this guy's healthy, he is tough. Struck out 2 in an inning of work here last night. The Braves had him. Moved on to San Diego, and they got him back. Broken back. Ground ball at short. Run away.
That's Ray Sanchez. Well, let's check out what a broken bat looks like in slow motion. Right off the end. That's generally what happens when you'll see a bat break right off in the hands of a guy. End of the bat just can't handle the torque from the pitch, and you end up with a little splinter in your hand. Sanders didn't hang on to that very long either. Check out another one. We'll grab that Kurt Schilling bat that had nobody's name on it and fire some pine tar on it and go up there with that.
Now Finley, 1 of 3, an infield single in the 3rd inning, and he knocked in a run on that hit. That was the liner back to Maddux. You certainly can't blame Maddux for being unable to hang on to it, but then he threw it away, bringing another run in. Schilling, 3-0 in the postseason. Spectacular again here last night. Randy Johnson still has turned in the best pitching performance of anybody in the playoffs. One game, of course, but the complete game shutout to begin this National League Championship Series. The thing to keep in mind as you look at that line, Atlanta, one of the most difficult teams, in fact, the second most difficult team to strike out in all the National League. I mean, generally they put the bat on the ball. When you strike out 11 against this team, I mean, bear in mind, Randy Johnson set a major league record this year, striking out just under 14 batters per 9 innings. You rack up 11 against this team, that's a pile of strikeouts.
They don't strike out very often. They don't walk very often. But in this series, they have. You know, one of the stories that's going to become increasingly more important as this series wears on is the use of the bullpen for the Braves. And I think Bobby Cox right now has done an excellent job of not burning out the guys that he's used. He's had to use more guys than he wanted to. But he can't run a guy out there and throw him 4 innings and not have him available for the next ball game. He relies on everybody down there. So in seemingly dire straits in both of these ball games, certainly this team is not out of this ball game. He's got to be using these guys in a way that he can come back and use them again in tomorrow night's ball game, in game 6 and 7, if it goes that far.
Now Matt Williams, 1 of 3 in a game. Our copyrighted telecast presented by authority. The Commissioner of Baseball may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent. Belt high strike to Matt Williams, 0-1.
You wouldn't know whether that guy was 0 for 10 or 8 for 10. The attitude that he brings to the ballpark every day.
Runner goes, and it's swung on and fouled out of play. So something you brought up a little while ago, Bob Brenly not taking his foot off the pedal.
Well, no way. I mean, we're talking about a 4-run ball game here in the 7th inning. You continue to stay aggressive. Nobody's going to have a problem with guys running in this situation. Brian Anderson done an excellent job in relief for the Diamondbacks. You got to keep going. You have to have that mentality that a game could slip away on you. Stay aggressive, stay on top of things, keep putting the pressure on the opposition, make them make plays.
Williams drives one to straightaway center, but Andrew Jones is there. 2 away. It's amazing all the little subtle things about what your bullpen can do for you and how it can throw you behind that proverbial 8-ball. Game like tonight, Brian Anderson, 3 innings so far. You know you have Randy Johnson tomorrow, and you never know what will happen, but you certainly like your chances of Johnson pitching deep into a game. But I mean, if Bob Brenly only had to use, say, 2 relievers after Lopez had to leave the game in the 3rd inning, he's riding high going in tomorrow. Whereas Bobby Cox, you talked about how he's using his pen, but bear in mind, this is a 2nd straight day where he's using just about everybody down.
And that's why I think he's doing a great job of doing it, because it would be so easy for him to burn these guys out. Giving them 1 inning, he gives them 2 innings. CNS will probably throw another 2 today, but if he does, he's gone back-to-back games where he's thrown 2 innings.
Like
then you start. Mike Morgan, as you mentioned right there, starting to warm up. Then you have to start worrying about bringing him back for tomorrow night's ball game if you need him. The day off between games 6 and 7, if it goes that far, can't come soon enough for this bullpen for the Braves right now. They came into this series very well rested.
Day off between games 5 and 6.
Yeah, yes, I'm sorry.
Travel day after tomorrow night's game, should it go that far back to Phoenix. Certainly Bobby Cox is saying to himself right now, it better get back to Phoenix. Runner going. Throw down to second base. Safe at second on a steal is Finley.
Well, you could forget about that. And I think as Lopez, even when he came out of his crouch to throw that ball, he knew he had no chance. Look at the jump. That is tremendous quickness. That is great concentration and even better fundamentals for Steve Finley. Look at this view of the shot. That is such a hard play to make for a middle infielder. When the ball short hops you, you have to come up to make the catch and then try to get the tag back down.
Now they'll intentionally pass Grace. Take their chances with Damian Miller, a right-handed batter, and the on-deck circle. Well, these are huge at-bats right now. I mean, the Braves already down 4. Anderson has been sensational out of the Arizona pen. Only given up 2 hits, no runs in 3 innings. They will hit for him next if the inning should continue. In fact, Greg Colburn has already moved into the on-deck circle and would bat for Anderson if it goes that far. You start falling behind 5, 6 runs, you're in big trouble. 4, you got a shot. Dusty Baker calls it stay within slam range. Grand slam range. Bob Brenly borrows that term all the time from the man that he served as a coach under in San Francisco for 4 seasons. Stay within slam range.
Now that is a huge difference when you know that you can load the bases and someone can jump the yard. You can tie a ball game. Once you start getting 5 and 6 runs back, that's when you're in trouble, especially late in the ball game.
1-1 to Miller.
This Braves team is not the type of team that's going to lay down when there's 4 runs back. They know that they're still in this ball game. They know that they have not hit the ball as well in this series as they would like to. But you never know when a team's going to break out.
I mean, remember, they pounded Mike Morgan, Greg Swindell, and Bobby Witt in the 8th inning of Game 2 at Bank One Ballpark. So if they start seeing those guys again, they know they've done it against that trio. 2-2.
That's why we've talked a lot in the postseason about when a new pitcher comes into a game. Brian Anderson's been doing a great job for the Diamondbacks. He probably will not go back out there with Colburn on the on-deck circle to hit. But sometimes an opposing team will say, good, get that guy out of there. He was not being kind to us. Give us someone else.
Hitting over on the strikeout by Miller. Our game tonight being seen around the world by overseas servicemen and women through the facilities of the American Armed Forces Television Service. All of America. And those of us at Fox salute you and appreciate what you are doing for our country. And it's time for the singing of God Bless America here at Turner Field in Atlanta.
To sing along as we celebrate America's freedom with the singing of God Bless America, which will be performed tonight by Libby Whittemore.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light from above, from the mountain to the prairie.
breeze to the oceans, white with foam. God bless America, my home sweet home. God bless America, my home sweet home.
Let's give Liggett a big round of applause.
The League Championship Series on Fox is brought to you by the people of United Airlines. We are united.
Welcome back to Turner Field in Atlanta. Bottom half of the 7th inning. Game 4 of this National League Championship Series. The Diamondbacks leading 2-1. Brian Anderson still on the mound for Bob Brenly's team. Swing and a miss by Javi Lopez. Anderson has gone 3 innings in relief of the ineffective starter Albie Lopez. He's allowed 2 hits, walked 1, hasn't struck out about it. This will now be the second time he's faced Lopez. Got him to pop up to Grace, and there's a changeup. It's Greg Swindell, veteran left-hander, starts to throw for Arizona. But Brian Anderson, who has always been at his best during the postseason, talked about in '97, the League Championship Series, the World Series for his hometown team, the Cleveland Indians. And then as a starter in '99. It's just been a down year for Anderson, in large part because of injury. This guy's a good pitcher. Into left center field, hit pretty well. Gonzalez in front of the wall with room. Time to take a look at our game summary, brought to you by Nissan. Ineffective starters. Very surprising that would be said of Greg Maddux. And again, poor Atlanta defense. Depending on what happens the rest of tonight, tomorrow, and however much further this series may go, the Braves may look back on their defense, their infield defense, and wonder what in the world happened. Base hit into left center field by Giles. So he's a one-out base runner. Let's go back to the 3rd inning when Arizona scored 4 times on 3 errors.
Now this is the first one by Chipper Jones, just trying to hurry. Then the next one by Ray Sanchez as the ball takes a funny hop on him, and then he airmails it, and then Maddux trying to make something out of nothing, and 2-run score there. And it became a very long, short night for Greg Maddux.
Franco 0 for 3. Lined out right at the first baseman Mark Grace his last time up.
Now you were talking about whether or not Bob Brenly could get out of this game and not have to use his bullpen all that much, considering the fact that Albie Lopez did not do the job in the starting role, and the same thing that has happened to Bobby Cox.
Into center field, a base hit by Franco. So all of a sudden, here come the Braves, 2 on with 1 man out. They're only down 4, and we're only in the 7th. And Brenly beginning to pace around. 3 hard-hit balls against Anderson to begin this inning.
He's done a good job up until this point. That ball's hammered right back up the middle. Franco not changing his approach at all, trying to go up the middle or the other way. And look at that big, long, sweeping swing. You got to be strong to make that swing.
It's time for our AT&T call to the bullpen. Excellent work by Anderson. And coming on is right-hander Mike Morgan. We'll be back. Mike Morgan now on the pitch facing Chipper Jones. Surprise, surprise, Bob Brenly bringing in the right-hander. Chipper Jones has always been a better left-handed hitter.
Oh, no question about that. Have Swindell down there. If he decided that Brian Anderson was done, Chipper Jones, I think, very excited and surprised to be staying on the left side of the plate. He's got 30 home runs versus right-handed pitching, only 8 against lefties. But remember, Morgan throws a lot of ground balls. Bob Brenly looking for a double play grounder here.
Pitch was elevated there, and Jones able to swing and foul it out of play. Morgan roughed up mightily in his only appearance in this series. He only got 2 outs, allowed 2 hits, a walk, and 3 runs. Jones has never homered against Mike Morgan. 1 ball and 1 strike, and that's in 17 career at-bats. As Swindell, who also was knocked around, gave up the home run to B.J. Surhoff in Game 2. And look at this. Miguel Batista, the Game 2 starter, as he has done all year long. In between starts, will work out of the pen. 1 and 2 to Chipper Jones.
His abilities are very, very underrated. Not only his stuff, but also the fact that he can start and then come out of the pen. Here's Morgan with the sinker down. That's how you get ground balls. Very hard to lift that pitch out of the ballpark.
2 on, 1 out, and a 1-2 to Jones. Strike 3 called on the inside corner. Mike Morgan and Greg Maddux went to the same high school in Las Vegas, and both of them feature this pitch.
He just hooked that one, the old comeback pitch. Right there is unbelievable. That's the type of pitch that Maddux is famous for, as you mentioned. Morgan gets the Braves with Maddox's own medicine.
We asked Bob Brenly to talk about the bullpens of these 2 teams and how they stack up against one another.
Well, on paper, you would have to like the Braves a lot more because they have power arms down there. You know, especially with Millwood and Marquis, 2 regular season starters, and Carsey and Smoltz. They've got pitchers that can come in and strike a batter out when they need to. Our bullpen is a little more finesse-oriented. We sink the ball, we spot the ball, we locate. We're more likely to get a double play grounder than a strikeout.
Especially so since the rookie right-hander Brett Prinz went down with an injury. They're hoping, should they advance to the World Series, to have him on the roster. What a huge loss he was for this bullpen. Now Jordan. Strike 1 on the outside corner. Yet Morgan, sinker ball pitcher, gets a strikeout.
And he'll take it, but that's certainly not what his philosophy is out there on the mound. Get guys to hit ground balls. Let my infielders get outs.
0-1. Strike 2. Morgan at 42 years old.
Well, the philosophy of the Braves right now has to change a little bit. It should have been a little different when Chipper was up. Brian Jordan now with 2 outs should be thinking about driving a ball out of the stadium. When you have less than 2 outs, you don't necessarily need a home run in that situation.
0-2 pitch. Throw down to first. Just getting back in time was Franco. That's a play that Javi Lopez has used through the years to get some big outs in the postseason for Atlanta.
Lopez is the catcher that loves to throw. Damian Miller showing off his abilities. Gray sneaking in behind like a cat in there behind Franco. But Hubbard doing a great job as a first base coach, getting him back, screaming at him at that point. Get back here.
On the ground into the field, a base hit. Rounding third and scoring is Giles, and the tying run will come to the plate. That could turn out to be a huge play there a moment ago. It looked like Franco may have been out.
Well, if you think so, maybe there's some people at home that think so too.
Bob Brenly is going to bring in Greg Swindell to face B.J. Surhoff. When they faced one another in Game 2, Surhoff homered.
The League Championship Series on Fox is brought to you by Nissan. Nissan introduces the totally new V6 Ultima, the cure for the common car. By Mountain Dew Code Red, discover a sensation as real as the streets. And by MasterCard, there are some things money can't buy. For everything else, there's MasterCard.
The tying run coming up for Atlanta. Down 3, last of the 7th inning. And now on the pitch, the veteran left-hander Greg Swindell. Get a look at Swindell's numbers during the regular season. B.J. Surhoff homered off Swindell Wednesday after not hitting a home run against a left-hander during the entire regular season. Strike one on the outside corner.
Swindell only hit 10 home runs during the regular year. When we talk philosophy of the way guys go up to the plate, I don't think Surhoff should be thinking about hitting a home run at all. I think he should be trying to hit the ball in the left field. Let Andrew Jones come up behind him.
Swing and a miss. He took a big cut. Here's a Game 2 home run.
That ball up and out over the plate with not a whole lot on it. Surhoff loves to hit the ball the other way. That was the one thing. The reason why he's thinking the other way was the reason that he was allowed to pull that pitch out of the ballpark.
One and two to Surhoff. Swindell, an excellent starter throughout the first 11 years of his big league career, and now he's found his niche in the bullpen.
Generally, when B.J. Surhoff pulls a ball, it's a little bit of a mistake to him. He wants to go the other way. Occasionally get out in front of a pitch and hook it like he did right there and yank it right out of the park.
Popped it up. Counsell comes to the infield grass, and the inning is over, so Swindell retires Surhoff this time. We go to the 8th. 6-3 Arizona. Brian Anderson, the first man to meet Greg Swindell when he came off, retiring B.J. Surhoff, stranding 2 in the Atlanta 7th inning. The Braves score a run to draw within 3.
Before the game today, when Swindell was headed down to the bullpen, he had this little jar of pills with him. I said, "What are those, your vitamins?" And he showed me the jar, and it was a jar of Geritol. He said, "Everyone's calling us so old. I'm going to take it down and share it with all the boys down in the pen. We'll be ready."
Steve Carsey, hard throwing. Atlanta right-hander on to face a pinch hitter, Mitre Cummings. And Cummings looks at a strike. Cummings, a top pinch hitter in the American League last season. Made the Diamondbacks roster out of spring training, but spent the majority of the year at their AAA team in Tucson. 0-2.
I didn't like the way this kid swings the bat off the bench. Mind you, as far as his quickness and how still he is at the plate, a little bit of a stretch, but a left-handed Paul Molitor, very quiet at the plate before he swings.
His sister has worked for the U.S. intelligence agency for a long, long time. She was in the Pentagon during that tragic day of September 11th. Went to work that day, was at the opposite end of the building. He couldn't reach her for about 5-6 hours. Was very, very concerned about her well-being, and it turned out that she was okay. 2-2.
Steve Carsey, one of the keys to this Atlanta bullpen was he was the guy that they really wanted in that deal for John Rocker from the Cleveland Indians.
Line hard to straightaway center, right at Jones. We remind you it's 7:30 Eastern, 4:30 Pacific. A dealer's choice, if you will. You decide which game you'd like to watch. Right here on Fox, we'll have either Game 4 of the ALCS or Game 5 of the NLCS. The other will be on your Fox Sports Net cable channel. So you get 2 for 1. It'll be the most exciting night of baseball this year. Check your local listing. Randy Johnson will get the ball here tomorrow night against Tom Glavine.
You just got to keep the clicker in your hand and keep hitting that jump button. Braves D-backs, Yankees M's. Yankees M's, Braves D-backs. Back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Yeah, utilize that picture-in-picture feature. That you'd never
Now
use.
you're talking. That's right.
You go to the store and you say, gotta have that picture-in-picture, gotta have it. I don't even know how mine works.
So it's really important that you got that feature.
Very important.
2-0 to Tony Womack. 3 balls and no strikes.
As I was saying about Parsay, here's a guy that in 1994, 4 games into the season, blew his elbow out. Had to have Tommy John surgery, missed the rest of 94, missed all of 95. Most people thought he was done. He's been working his way back ever since. And he's almost got the velocity back on his fastball, because before he got hurt, this guy could bring it.
Former #1 pick by Toronto, and then came over to the Athletics from the Jays in the Ricky Henderson deal in 1993. A rocket into right center field, a base hit by Womack, and he's off to the races. Going hard, and he'll slam on the brakes as Jones cuts it off in right center field. It's good, solid baseball on both ends there. Womack breaking hard, and Jones going hard to get it.
Now that's 2 guys really hustling. Womack, you know, as soon as he hits the ball, if he thinks it's in a gap, he's going to be flying. He's thinking double out of the box. But Andrew Jones, as we talked about before, look at the ground he's going to cover. Flying over there to get the ball, a little reverse pivot, and he's still got one of the better arms in the outfield. He gets it back in. Tony Womack has to put the brakes on and get back to first base.
2 hard hit balls against Parsay. The liner by Cummings into center. The base hit by Womack. And now it's Counsell. We saw Bob Brenly get Steve Finley started at first base in the 7th inning. He stole second. And you got to believe Womack will be running very early in the count here.
Have to keep the pressure on.
Strike 1 to Craig Counsell.
Parsay does not have a great move to first, has a big leg kick. Counsell now in 9 games in the postseason against the Braves is hitting .387. 4 runs, 4 RBIs. Talk about a thorn in your side.
Like a lot of Atlanta Braves fans watching, or Arizona Diamondback fans watching in this case, you really have to follow a team every day to appreciate what a guy like Counsell has been able to do for this team. Womack dancing around over there at first base. And there are a lot of guys around baseball with the various teams that mean so much to their particular club. But outside of their particular fan base, you don't even know they're on the club. 0-2 to Counsell.
Counsell would qualify as being one of those guys. He's not one of those guys. And that's why in the postseason, guys like Craig Counsell are the guys that do hurt you. You're not going to want to let Chipper Jones get the opportunity to hurt you. We've seen what they've done to Gonzo. Tried to make him go outside the strike zone to get his hits or to swing the bat. They're not going to let guys like that hurt you if they can. So it falls on the shoulders of guys like Craig Counsell. And if you put him in a situation where he can't succeed, a lot of times they'll come through for you. And when they do, there will be guys on base. He's going to pitch around the big guys to get to you.
Bobby Cox wanting to know from home plate umpire Mike Riley where that one missed. He didn't answer. Leo Mazzoni doesn't have an answer.
Take a look at it again. Missed high and outside is where it missed. Not even close. You got to think Womack's going to be on his horse and running. 97 with the Pirates. He stole 60 bases. The next year, 58. Year after that, with the Diamondbacks, 72. All 3 of those years led the league in stolen bases. Hasn't stolen as many this year, but he says, I love leading off, and I like to get my stolen bases in that leadoff position because I think they mean more stealing bases in front of the big guys.
There he goes, and it's slapped fair down the left field line, and Womack on his way to third. They're going to send him home. He will score on the throw to the plate, and there's Craig Counsell again. Counsell, a 2-run double in the fourth, a RBI double here in the eighth. 7-3 Arizona. Counsell has been the best player for the Arizona team in the postseason so far.
Hey, forget about being a thorn in your side. He's become a royal pain in their rear ends. Come on. Look at this. Sticking with his game plan all day long. Staying on top of that pitch away from him. Womack with the jump. He hears the ball being hit. Looks up and sees where it is. He knows that Counsell likes to go the other way. And then you can forget about him. That's what speed will do for you on a ball down the line that didn't get all the way down to the wall.
Luis Gonzalez will be intentionally walked.
Watch Counsell here on this fastball away. Watch how he keeps his hands on top of the baseball, not looping his swing around that ball, coming straight down on top of it. And, I mean, not serving the ball to left field, hitting a bullet right down the line.
Heard the Commissioner Bud Selig talking last night about how Counsell's father used to work for the Brewers. Greg would come to the ballpark just about every night. Hard-nosed, unheralded high school player coming out of Wisconsin. Was able to play under Pat Murphy at Notre Dame. And he figured when he went there, he was going there to get a top-flight education. Well, he's giving the Atlanta Braves for yet another LCS on education. Ball 1-0 to Reggie Sanders.
Now, there's two guys in this ballpark that say they grew up and learned how to play the game of baseball from Gantner, Yount, and Molitor, who were on that Milwaukee Braves team back when Counsell was growing up. B.J. Surhoff started his career there and credits all three of those guys with teaching him how to play the game. It's funny when you hang around the Diamondback team and how much business they give to Counsell. They're always all over him. They're calling him Rudy now.
Of Notre Dame football fame.
Yes, with no disrespect to Rudy the man, says Gonzo.
Strike 2 to Reggie Sanders.
Gonzalez was saying, hey, come on. What's the big deal if I'm not hitting? The guy in front of me is hitting about 900. Not far off.
Activity in both bullpens. The Young Kim, the Arizona closer. Watches as Reggie Sanders has a 1-2 count. And Carsey misses with a fastball. Carsey really struggled down the stretch. And they thought he had turned the corner during the last week of the season and into the playoffs. But he's laboring again here tonight.
This is such a big at-bat for Carsey right here. Got to get Sanders. Can't afford to load the bases. Bringing the left-handed hitting Finley up. Tough guy to ground into a double play, and plus Finley's swinging a bat. And once again, with a 7-3 score, getting later and later for the Braves, but clearly not out of it when you got guys on that team that can hit the ball out of the ballpark.
Swing and a miss at a 96-mile-per-hour fastball, and Sanders gone for the second out.
Well, we saw Schilling do this all night last night. When you have to reach back and get a strikeout, you throw your good gas upstairs, especially to Sanders. Cannot get your hands on top of that ball, as you see Sanders swing through it and underneath it. It's a pitch that looks like you can hit it. When you see it up in the zone, you see it so much better than a ball that's down in the strike zone. But generally, a ball up in the strike zone has a little more giddy up on it, too, and they throw it right by you.
First pitch breaking ball to Steve Finley in their strike. Atlanta scored in the bottom half of the 7th inning, left 2 men on base when the inning ended. The Diamondbacks have gotten that run back here in the top of the 8th. 0-1 to Finley. A ball and a strike. Arizona barely a whisper offensively in the first 2 games of this series. It's hard to believe you scored 3 runs in 2 games and even win 1 game. But now loading up on the Brave staff here the last 2 nights. Unhittable pitch right there. Parsay had that location with that velocity every time. He'd never give up a hit.
This is nasty location. Philly doesn't like it. Now you got to remember also, if you're just joining us, the number of runs that these D-backs have scored, although they have banged out 10 hits tonight. Bad defense once again by the Braves.
Tried the breaking ball, 2-2. 4 of the 6 runs earned against Maddux, so 2 unearned runs. And 1 unearned run last night.
Parsay there was trying to sneak the backdoor breaking ball. May go back to the fastball in on Finley. Finley's not generally a guy that likes to get fooled on a pitch in 2 times in 1 at-bat. I think he's thinking in here.
Came in and he barely got a piece of it in and out of the mound of Javi Lopez.
Once again there with Parsay trying to get the comeback pitch. You see the influence of a Greg Maddux on this team all over the place. We talked a lot last night about Burkett and what he's learned from this staff. Tries to do that same pitch that comes back, throw it inside to the lefty, tail it back all over in the middle part or on the inside part of the plate. Parsay doing much the same thing, but throws harder than both of those guys.
Man, he does throw hard, doesn't he?
He can run it up there. Steve Finley can still turn around a good fastball. And as I said before, if he's looking in,
pitch in the dirt, and another Diamondback is going to reach on a strikeout. 2nd time it's happened in the game tonight.
When was the last time you saw it happen 1 time, let alone twice in the same game? With all due respect to Javi Lopez, this is a filthy pitch down in the dirt. Does almost everything he can do to get over there and block it. It hits off his inside of his right leg and skips away. This is not an easy pitch to block. Catches his shin guard and kicks away from him. He does a good job of even knowing where it is. Still hustling over there to get it. But 2 guys that have gotten on first base after a strikeout are 2 of the quicker guys on this team, Finley and Counsell, and 2 of the guys that aren't afraid to hustle after a strikeout.
Well, now they're loaded for Matt Williams. He has 11 career grand slams. Parsay works out of the regular windup. First pitch fastball in there, strike. Williams 1 of 4 in the game, an RBI single in the 4-run 3rd inning. Well, Arizona now with a chance to break this one wide open. Parsay trying to keep him again within slam range when they come to bat in the bottom of the 8th inning.
And I think Parsay is going to go with that fastball as he did on the first 2 pitches right there. Matt Williams doesn't like the call. The whispers around the game of baseball is that with all the injuries to Matt Williams that he can't catch up to a real good heater like that one right there anymore. I don't know if that's necessarily true. Starting to show some signs of coming around for this Diamondback team. But there's not a lot of people in the game that can turn around Steve Carson's fastball too, especially if he locates it where he wants it.
Counsell, Gonzalez, and Finley aboard. 2 down here in the top half of the 8th inning. And Parsay winds and deals. Strike 3 called on the outside corner. Some serious pitching right there by Parsay. And for the bottom half of the 8th inning, 7-3 Arizona, and Bob Brenly not taking any chances with letting this one get away. Not that it can't happen, but he brings on his Game 2 starter, who only allowed 2 hits in 7 innings. Allowed a couple of home runs to get beat in that game by Tom Glavine. Miguel Batista. Batista would start Game 6 of this series should it go back to Phoenix on Tuesday night. What an unbelievable story Miguel Batista has been for Arizona this season. He beat Darryl Kyle in the pivotal Game 3 of that division series. The first game at sold-out Busch Stadium in St. Louis. A young man who just bounced around his entire career. Always had a live arm, but Bob Welch told him, you might want to start changing a few things between the ears. Using your brain a little bit out there on the mound. And start competing a little more, unless you want to go to Winter Bowl every year and try to win a job. Well, he's done that this year. Ball 1 high to Andrew Jones.
Well, I'm sure that Welch was talking about using his head on the field. But at the same time, for the last 2 days, when I've strolled through the clubhouse and out of the clubhouse, I've seen Batista sitting way down the hallway by himself, reading a book.
Right. He'll often quote Albert Einstein. I mean, right out of the blue, he'll drop something from Albert Einstein. In fact, a picture of Einstein hangs in his locker in Phoenix. Very well-read, very articulate young man. Swing and a miss, 2-2. And for the first time, he's pitching well this year.
Well, he's got some live stuff. His ball's got some serious tail on it, some serious movement on that fastball. Hey, take a look at that shot that we're just showing you right there. The drop of sweat falls off him and might drop into your living room.
Line one hopper by. Counsell into center field, a base hit. Andrew Jones with his second hit of the ball game.
Andrew Jones can hit that pitch right there. What a great piece of hitting there. That ball's starting to cut away from Jones. He stays right with it. He hits a bullet past Counsell. Counsell makes a great effort to try to get it, but no chance. Counsell would have caught that ball. It would have knocked him into right field. He wouldn't have been able to get up and throw him out anyway.
Now Sanchez has hit the ball hard all 3 times up tonight. Only 1 hit to show for it. Ball 1 up and in.
Now this is the point in the game for the Braves where we've talked in the past in postseason games where they really have to change their mentality now as the way they go up there. Sanchez has got to be thinking none other than just getting on base.
Off the glove, it'll roll by. Counsell throws for the knees. Not in time.
Wow. Those plays come up quite often in a postseason where a pitcher will knock down the ball. We'll take a look at this ball. If it was hit hard enough where it would have gone up the middle anyway. Counsell, another great effort. No chance of standing up and throwing him out, so he just let me throw you out from my belly. Couldn't quite get enough mustard on it. Now this ball may well have gone right up the middle for a base hit. When I played with Ozzie Guillen, he used to tell the middle infielders, after you pitch the ball, do not try to catch it. That's what my job is. You try to catch it, you'll knock it down, you'll mess everything up. Maybe it'll go up the middle, but maybe I'll catch it and we'll turn a double play. So just leave it alone. Whereas Ozzie Guillen was an all-star shortstop, too, and caught everything in sight.
Davey Martinez will come up and pinch hit now for Carson. Smoltz on your left, Marquis on your right, throwing in the bullpen. The Braves 2 for 10 tonight. With runners in scoring position, 6 of 21 in a series. Ball 1 away.
And here's what we're talking about philosophy. I truly believe that Dave Martinez is a guy that's not really sent up there to hit the ball out of the park. He should be continuing to think just base hits or maybe hit a gapper. The 3-run home run does not tie the score, which it doesn't in this game.
Fly ball, short center. Finley coming in, base hit. And now the tying run will come to the plate. Miguel Batista has allowed one more hit after facing 3 batters than he allowed in 7 innings as a Game 2 starter. And now that's going to be it for him. Bob Brenly is going to make a double switch. Our AT&T call to the bullpen will bring on the sidewinding 22-year-old Korean Byung-Hyun Kim to face Javi Lopez. The Arizona closer Byung-Hyun Kim takes over with the bases loaded and nobody out. Get a look at the numbers on Kim. Only allowed 58 hits in 98 innings, struck out 113. But extremely erratic is this 22-year-old Korean.
And he's never been in a bigger game in his life. Lopez, when he hit his home run against Batista, went the other way, off the opposite field foul pole. That's what he's going to try to do against Kim.
Broken bat roller, could be 2. There's 1, and that's a double play. A run scores, but a huge double play ball off the bat of Javi Lopez. 7-4 our score.
And a dangerous play as well, as that bat went flying right by Kim's head. Womack with a great play. Most shortstops will try to catch the ball and throw it before they have to jump, but he didn't have time. He's going to get this ball. The runner's going to be way deep in on him. He's throwing it as he's up in the air.
Now Marcus Giles, 1 of 3. And it's high, ball 1. Kim was actually the #1 starter on the Korean national team ahead of Chan Ho Park. And he wants to be a starter. He was talking about that as late as about the first week of September. And Bob Brenly said, I don't care if he thinks he's a juggler in the circus. He better understand that he's a closer on this team.
It's pretty much the way Brenly handles it.
2 balls and a strike.
I'll tell you what, they bounced into the double play there with Lopez breaking his bat. But you really have to appreciate the way the Braves were trying to get back into this game with the mentality of getting base hits until you were put into a situation where a home run would tie it.
Line to third, inning over. Byung-Hyun Kim faces 2 batters, gets 3 outs. We go to the 9th, 7-4 Diamondbacks. Top half of the 9th inning, 7-4 Arizona in front. And you're going to hear this young man's name a great deal for many years to come, working out of the bullpen here in the postseason. But he's going to be a big-time starter, Jason Marquis.
Look at the numbers during the regular season. Not that impressive as far as his record is concerned. ERA not too bad. Really working on him as far as finding the location of his pitches. And once he gets that done.
The Braves had the bases loaded with nobody out and could only manage 1 run. Byung-Hyun Kim shattered the bat of Lopez on a roller to second that turned into a double play. Race to lead it off. Strike 1. Marquis throws hard. That fastball at 95.
See Womack in the dugout there, all smiles after the double play that he had to sprout some wings and fly over Martinez in order to make the play.
Grace has been on base 3 times tonight. In the air down to third base line, and that ball is 2 rows out of play. Grace popped up to third in the 2nd inning. He knocked in a run with a single against Greg Maddux in the 4-run 3rd inning. Walked in the 5th, was intentionally walked in the 7th. Greg Counsell, a pair of doubles, 3 batted in tonight.
These guys look like brothers, don't they? Counsell and Finley. Swinging like brothers, too.
Check swing and a miss. Time for a game break. Here's Jeannie Zelasco.
Well, Tom, Roger Clemens may not want to hear this. Forget home field advantage in the postseason. 5 of the 6 games in the championship series have been won by the visiting team. It is Championship Sunday on the Fox networks. You make the call. Find one on Fox Sports Net, the other on...
Jeannie, thank you very much. Look forward to that. Take your pick.
Dealer's choice.
Dealer's choice indeed. As only a man who spends a considerable amount of time in Vegas can say.
I'm Mr. Vegas.
Yes, you are.
Rolling, baby.
2 balls and a strike. You're looking ahead to the Atlanta 9th inning. They'll have the heart of the order coming up. Franco, Chipper Jones, and Brian Jordan against Byung-Hyun Kim. 2-2 to Damian Miller. Franco has hit the ball hard 3 of the 4 times up tonight. Jones with a couple of hits and an RBI. Jordan with a hit and an RBI. Strike 3 on the outside corner.
And you wonder why when Marquis comes into a game, you say some nice things about him. This is good old country hardball, painting the outside corner. And Miller, as soon as he sees it, you see the slow motion replay of that thing. He looks at it and says, let me tip my cap and sit down. Marquis hides the ball pretty well for a right-hander, and Miller's just over there shaking his head saying, I can't hit that.
Bottom fell out of that pitch. I was getting ready to say this ought to be an interesting matchup right here, because Danny Bautista can turn a fastball around as well as anybody on this Arizona team. And you notice Marquis does not start in first pitch fastball. He does there away. 1-1. Bautista, a .302 hitter during the season. He was playing just about every day over the last 4 weeks of the season.
There's a big breaker. Bouncing it. Throwing it about 59 feet there. And Lopez just picking and grinning behind the plate. But Mark Grace says about Bautista that he doesn't see many guys that have the explosiveness with the way the ball comes off of his bat. Grace has been around a few hitters.
Of course, Danny Bautista, a one-time Brave. And they've been trying to get him back for the last couple of years. And you see Marquis certainly respecting what you're talking about. Only 1 fastball in the first 4 pitches to Bautista, and it was about a foot outside.
Now you're going to see one right here, and Bautista's going to come out of his shoes and try to hit it. Of course, he wouldn't be able to run around the bases very well.
Ball 4 away.
He didn't want any of them.
No, there aren't many guys. As the word has gotten out and Bautista's career has continued to progress, this guy could be playing every day. He wasn't an everyday sort of player 2, 3, 4 years ago. Just matured a little bit, got bigger, stronger. Been a valuable member. You brought up this Arizona bench. They're a big reason why the Diamondbacks won the National League West.
No question.
Now Womack. First pitch fastball, strike on the outside corner.
I mean, if you're Jason Marquis and you're getting beat 7-4 in the 9th, you know you can't afford to give up another run. Why pitch to a guy that can potentially take you out of the yard with 2 outs when you got Womack coming up behind him? Not to say that he can't hit a home run, but if you keep the ball on the outside part of the plate, with his kind of power pitching, he can almost knock the bat out of his hands. Don't be surprised if Bautista takes off.
Rolled over foul, 0-2. Young Kim will get the ball in the bottom of the 9th inning.
I say go ahead and steal. Got to get him on the second base. Womack dumps one out there. You get another insurance run. Get thrown out stealing right here. Doesn't matter. You're still ahead 7-4. You bring your stopper back into the game here with Kim and say, let's go get him. Shut people down. Let's go home with a win.
0-2. They pitch out thinking that Bautista may have been running. He wasn't.
Now you do. Bautista stole 3 bases on the season, but as you said, didn't get regular playing time until the end of the year.
One hopper at Sanchez. He'll play to first. Throws high. Safe at first. Second throwing error of the game by Sanchez, who's considered one of the best defensive shortstops in all of baseball. Why not second base is the first thing I'm wondering, Steve.
Well, because no one was there yet. Giles was late getting over there. Would have been a close play, so he has to alter what he wanted to do, and then let's go with this ball. Watch Giles get up there a little bit late. He'd have to throw to him on the run. Bautista's right there. I don't know. He probably could have gone to second base anyway, but I don't think he wanted to throw to Giles while he was on the run to second base. You see quickly in that picture, both of them getting to second base right about the same time. Decides to go to first with it. And just releases the ball a little early.
And now look who's up there again. Bobby Cox is saying, you got to be kidding me. Every time I turn around with guys on base, here comes Counsell. He's knocked in 3 tonight. The crown on Craig Counsell. Strike 2 on the inside corner.
Check it out, another play here. Womack trying to get out of the way. Did he touch first? Maybe not. Trying to get out of the way of Julio Franco. That foot, I think he maybe grazed it right there with that foot. Umpire right on the play.
Marquis ahead of Counsell at 0-2. On the ground into left field, a hit. Danny Bautista rounding third, throw to the plate, not in time. Craig Counsell, his 3rd hit of the game, his 4th run batted in. And he makes it a 4-run spread, and again the Atlanta defense continues to let their pitching down.
Well, at this point in the game, even the people at home know what I'm going to say about Craig Counsell. Sticking with his game plan all day long. Think he's going to hit it the other way? Wow. Sooner or later, if you're the Atlanta Braves, you got to say, when are we going to bury this guy in on his hands? I mean, how many times has he shown us that he can hit that pitch?
Now Gonzalez, he hammers one way back into right center field. Andrew Jones looks up. Goodbye. Luis Gonzalez with his first home run of the series, and Arizona has slammed an exclamation point here in the 9th inning. And the Diamondbacks now lead 10-4.
Well, Gonzo doesn't care when he starts to produce in this series. This is a great position for him to be in to hit this home run in a blowout game, because it'll give him a lot more confidence to come back into a game that matters. That's the Gonzo that Major League Baseball has seen all year long, that pitch and just hammering it.
Oh! Go ball! Go ball! Get up! Yes! Woo! You got it!
Wow, the only thing Brenly didn't do right there is try to blow on it to see if he could push it out of there. Now, one worry that you might have if you're an Arizona Diamondback is whether or not the Braves, out of frustration, start buzzing people here.
Well, that one up and into Reggie Sanders. Pardon me, it's 11-4.
And you can get away with it to Reggie Sanders because everybody knows the place to pitch him is up and in anyway.
Of course, there's a flip side to all that. You buzz somebody tonight, you better tread lightly getting in that box tomorrow.
Doesn't happen in too many playoff games unless it's a blowout like this. And there's rarely retaliation because tomorrow's game is so important. Of course, Randy Johnson doesn't have a problem throwing a ball under your chin every once in a while. We've talked a lot about that in our broadcast. Not that you should be out headhunting, but I've always believed that there is a place in the game for brushback pitches, for throwing inside. You have to throw inside in order to be successful. If you're a pitcher, and as I've said many times, if I'm a pitching coach and I tell my pitcher to go inside, I'm also going to tell him to miss inside. Don't miss with that pitch out over the plate. That's where you get hurt.
It's amazing how guys, though, that leave the American League and come to the National League, they buzz up and under guys' chins with a lot less frequency.
Because they have to go to the ditch.
You better believe it. That one rolled foul. The 11 runs scored by the Diamondbacks, the most in their very young franchise history for a postseason game.
Come on, how many times did they score more than 11 runs during the regular season? This is not a team that scores 11 runs all that often.
That's the truth. Of course, in a number of innings the last two nights, Steve, they've been given 4 outs in an inning. There's ball 4 to Sanders. And if you make it a practice to give good teams 4 outs or more in an inning, you're in big trouble.
Super slow motion on Gonzalez's home run. He makes an outside pitch, an inside, or a pitch right down the middle because of where he stands at the plate. Gonzo thinks he got it. Just enough in the heavy night air here in Atlanta.
Now Young Kimball back. He looks at a strike.
You talk about a guy who probably does not like to come to the plate. Look where he's standing. He's in another zip code somewhere. He's had 6 at-bats. He actually has a hit. We talked about Schilling. Every time he goes to the plate, he acts like he's facing himself with some of the swings that he takes. Kim's like the same way. He's like, I don't want to see one of those sidewinding breaking balls from anybody.
Puts it in play up the middle. Giles is there, and that'll end the inning. Luis Gonzalez, quiet most of the series. A noisy 3-run home run to right center. And the Diamondbacks lead 11-4. Luis Gonzalez, a 3-run home run, his first home run in this series. 4 runs in the Diamondbacks' 9th inning, and they lead 11-4. Strike 1 to Julio Franco.
Oh, Bob Brenly told us early in this series that he thought his guys would be all right if they didn't go up there and try to whirly-bird the ball. Go up there trying to just hit every ball out of the park. Gonzalez just whirly-bird one.
Kim Gann can get a save in this game. You may remember he came on with the tying run at the plate. Popped up into foul territory, and Grace has got it one away. We remind you tomorrow, a Fox NFL Sunday doubleheader beginning with America's #1 pregame show. As always, JB, Terry Howie, and Chris Collinsworth get you ready for kickoff. Then Kurt Warner and the Rams against the Jets. And later, Brett Favre and the Packers take on the Vikings or other regional action. Coverage begins noon Eastern, 9 Pacific, right here on Fox. The Braves down by 7 with nobody on and 1 out here in the ninth. And Atlanta fans certainly have to be thinking now about a repeat of 1996. The Braves fell behind 3-1 in the league championship series against St. Louis, as that one is fouled back out of play. And then they just absolutely overwhelmed the Cardinals, outscoring them 32-1 to rally and win the last 3 games and advance to the World Series.
And that's when you certainly saw tremendous offense with the 32 runs. But the reason why they only scored 1 run, as far as the Cardinals are concerned, Glavine, Maddux, and Smoltz in their prime. Speaking of Smoltz, talk about keeping him off the field. When you don't put the Atlanta Braves in a save situation, you keep him out in that bullpen. He has had electrifying stuff out of the pen.
On the ground, down to Grace. He'll wave off Kim, and the Braves are down to their final out. And Jones is limping down to first base.
That's not good.
Don't know if he lost his footing, perhaps coming out of the batter's box. We'll take a look here.
Now, see the stride and swinging the bat. Everything looked pretty good.
Randy Johnson gets the ball tomorrow night against Tom Glavine. And Arizona an out away from leading 3-1 in this best-of-7 series. Johnson won game 1 of the series. Glavine won game 2. Hit hard into deep left center field off the bat of Jordan. And Bautista, miscommunication out there with Gonzalez, and still made the catch. Well, that's the kind of night it was for Arizona. They had 2 batters that struck out, reached base safely. They were given 4 outs in 3 different innings and took advantage of every single opportunity. And they just hammered the Braves tonight, 11-4.
Well, the team that takes advantage of the other team's mistakes better than any team I've ever seen is the New York Yankees. They've won 3 straight world championships in 4 out of the last 5 years. And that ball right there, Bautista and Gonzalez tried to mess it up, and they still couldn't. That's when you know everything's going your way.
And really a big story that we'll go over. Look, the bullpen differential between the 2 teams tonight. The Atlanta bullpen allowed 5 runs. The Arizona bullpen allowed 2 in 6 innings.
And, of course, in game 2, when the Diamondbacks bullpen gave it up, everybody started talking about how bad they were. Not so sure that same thing's going to happen to the Atlanta bullpen now that they've given up a lot of runs in a big game as well.
Well, back in the 4th inning, it was 4-2. Diamondbacks in front, and then our Energizer play of the game. You talked about Craig Counsell.
Well, he is the Energizer punting. Look at him. Going the other way with the big double here. That broke the game open, hustling into second base. That was a 2-run double that made the score 6-2 Diamondbacks at the time.
Well, while we have a moment, let's talk about the guy, Steve, you just called the Energizer bunny, if you will, for this Arizona Diamondback team, Craig Counsell. And Craig, what is it about you through not only this season, but then when you get in the postseason?
Well, it was, it was just a great win today. I don't know how to explain it really, and I really don't want to explain it. We're 1 game away from the World Series, and that's the focus on everybody's mind right now. And we got to come out tomorrow and get it done. We're 1 game away from the World Series.
Craig, you told me before the game that your game plan was to go the other way with whoever was out there on the mound. They continued to throw you away. Do you expect them to change their game plan against you for the rest of this series?
Well, I think that's the Braves' way of pitching. You know, that's how they pitch everybody, and they've had success like that for 10 years. You know, I don't think they really changed that. So I just, you know, they made some mistakes with 2 strikes with some breaking balls, and left some breaking balls up, and I was able to, you know, put a good swing on them and drive in some runs. But today was a team win, man. I mean, so many guys contributed. You know, Danny Batista, DeLucci, Tony Womack was unbelievable. You know, Swindell, Morgan, I mean, everybody, Brian Anderson. I mean, it was a great team win.
Craig, congratulations. Celebrate with your teammates, and we'll look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.
Thanks, Tommy.